Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Jimmy Whisman. So happy to be here tonight. Aren't you excited for this tonight?
I'm so much happier today than I was yesterday. I'm so tired.
Jacked up. I'm exhausted. Haven't slept. We've recorded Small Town Murder tonight. By the way, listen to Small Town Murder, our other podcast. Check that out.
Fun.
What are you waiting for on that one?
Get over there.
Take a small town, we pick it apart, and we tell you about a murder that happened there and how it affected things. You
and
can't
then we
beat
make fun of the asshole.
Then we make fun of the asshole. While you're at it, too, check me out on P.S. I Hate This Movie, where we make fun of bad romantic comedies.
Yeah.
Women, you'll like it because you have to suffer, and guys, you've had to suffer, so you watch it. You check it out, too. But never mind that. We're excited to be here. Thank you guys for the iTunes reviews this week.
Yes.
God, that helped us out so much. You really got
over 300 now. That's
thank
great.
You guys. It's picking up so much. We're
Keep
so
them going.
excited.
Keep telling your friends.
Yeah, please give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following directions, following instructions, whatever you want to say. Say something nice. Say something mean.
Great.
We don't care. Just put 5 stars down and help us out here. Really helps us on the business end. Also, too, if you're going to be next week, actually, it'll be 4 days from when this comes out. If you're going to be in the South by Southwest Festival on March 17th at 5 p.m. by any chance, you might want to stop by the Marriott and see the live Crime and Sports show, because it's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
Mix a little visual into it, too. We're going to have a good time with that. So please come and do that. And also, too, let's throw one more plug out there and piss everybody off. What do you say? We never plug at the front. If you want to donate to the show, patreon.com/crime and sports. It really helps us out a ton.
It does.
We don't make a lot of money off of this, so please, if you could help us out with that, that'd be terrific. If
Help
not,
me get James some life insurance.
Yeah,
life insurance too.
Health insurance would be
Health
great.
insurance.
But beside that, if you don't want to do any of that, fuck it. Sit back and listen. We're going to have a good time.
Here we go.
We're going to have a blast, man. Hope you guys enjoyed last week's pile of crazy, piled higher than we've ever seen before.
Russia with love.
Wow, was he insane.
Holy shit.
Oh, Vyacheslav Datsik last week was the craziest person we've covered by far. And we've covered some crazy.
Yeah.
We really have.
We really have.
We've spanned just the whole gamut of crazy we've covered. And this was like, people were messaging us going, this is a special crazy here. This is
I learned
something
a
different.
lot, too. I learned what a rooster is. I didn't know that.
I didn't know what a Russian prison bitch was either. I had no
thought
idea.
It was just a bird that cockles in the morning.
Now we know, Jimmy. We know. We found
somebody
that out.
Swallows cockle in prison.
Found out some very interesting facts about Jesus that I'm not sure anybody would agree with, but he certainly did, didn't he?
He had some fucking hilarious things to say.
He really did. That guy was crazy. If you haven't listened to Datsik, I swear, as soon as this is over, you go in and listen to Datsik, because it is insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity. But tonight we have a case. We have a guy tonight. This guy kind of pisses me off, too. It's not even like let's do a math equation, shall we? Like I like to do sometimes. He is Carlos Monzon plus Ray Carruth divided by OJ.
Oh, my God.
And we have not covered OJ.
Yeah. But everybody knows what he did.
Yes, and it's odd that we haven't. Our first episode, we made a promise not to do OJ because it's so much out there. And the messed up part is, I know more about OJ's than all of the cases we've had put together. I have literally watched. I'll sit at home with my girlfriend, Sarah Hunt, who's my partner on P.S. I Hate This Movie. We will sit there and we will watch the OJ trial on YouTube.
Good God.
There is 492 videos. Yeah, because we watched the miniseries and then we watched the documentary that just won the Oscar for Best Documentary. And then we're like, well, the whole trial's on YouTube. Let's watch preliminary hearings and find out what all the restaurant workers where Ronald Goldman worked. Let's find out their schedules. I know who's the bar manager in 1994 on Sundays at Mezzaluna in Beverly Hills.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not fucking around, guys.
That's terrible.
But for some reason, we're still not going to do it, though, because it's been done to death. And we like to do the unknowns a little bit, or the guys that are just under the surface a little. You're like, I remember that guy kind of, but I didn't know he killed anybody, or I didn't know he was a horrible piece of shit. and then we tell you your childhood heroes are pieces of shit, and then we have a good time with it. So our piece of shit tonight is, and I can call him that freely for what he did. I have no problem at all doing that.
I'll call every one of them. We've covered that because they have done some horrific things that are terrible.
They have.
Disregard for everybody involved.
Oh, God. And this is pure narcissism.
I love it.
That's all it is. It's Thomas Henry Kane, better known as Tommy Kane. Tommy Kane, NFL player.
All right.
And we'll get into where he came from and everything about him. He started out on January 14th, 1964 is his date of birth. He's born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He's a Canadian guy, not a Frenchman. He's a black guy in Canada. Comes from an area where it's a lot of like Trinidadian, whatever you want to say,
Island
immigrants.
People.
And there's a lot of immigrants in the area.
It's a good place for him to go.
It is. It's a rough area too, though. We'll get into the area in a minute here. He grows up to be 5'11", 180, so not a huge guy, but insanely athletic. Though. Really athletic. Amazing jumper, fast. Really, really solid. Grows up with his two sisters and his mom. His father leaves home at age 3. So father leaves at 3, which, as we've covered before in this, usually when the father leaves early, it's one of two things. We can never tell if it's good or bad, because they either just leave and have nothing to do with these kids and they grow up without any kind of male role model at all, or else they stay and beat the holy shit out of everyone within arm's reach. So I don't know which is worse. We haven't figured that out yet, which is more damaging to these children.
Either way, it's all damaging.
Both seem to suck. We'll put it that way. Both seem to not be great.
Neither seem to be a good outcome.
No. So he lives at home with his two sisters, his mom, Shirley, his sisters. I know one of them's name is Karen, and I could never find out the other one's name. So don't know who she is.
Weird.
But two of them. Anyway, he goes to William Dawson High School, William Dawson Secondary School. It's a high school. As a teen, like I said, he played his dream was to play hockey.
Really?
That was his dream. He's a ghetto dude wanting to play hockey.
From the 60s? He wanted to be like the first guy?
He's in Canada.
Was there a black
Not a lot
hockey
of them.
player back then?
Not too many of them,
I wonder if there was
imagine.
any.
He, as a teen, he actually played on the same hockey team with Mario Lemieux.
No shit.
Which, if you're not a hockey fan, I'm not even a huge hockey fan, but Mario Lemieux's a legend.
The best Penguin ever.
Absolute legend. Yeah, he's amazing. So,
I mean, dispute with Sidney Crosby now, I imagine.
I'll take Lemieux still. Give Sidney Crosby Hodgkins and see what he can do out there. Let's throw some Hodgkins on him and see if he can still score like Mario Lemieux did. Lemieux had Hodgkins and was playing with it, didn't even care. He hangs out in the Montreal West End Sports Center. It's a kind of like a boys and girls club type of thing would be the best way to describe it.
YMCA.
The neighborhood kids can go there and not get in trouble and play sports and do that sort of thing. It's under the founder of a guy named Bob White, who is apparently a very controversial figure. I'm not sure, but it's weird. A lot of the guys who found these type of inner city programs for kids, a lot of times they're not the most upstanding people that do it. They're doing it for the kids and they're giving back to the kids, but to begin with,
to wash some money somewhere.
Well, no, to get in that position of having anything to give back, they had to do something shitty to do it. So it's a lot of times a controversial thing. Also, too, to get these kids to listen to somebody, you have to be somebody that has respect around there to get
some
a bunch
street
of
cred.
Exactly. So that's what it is. You get a guy with street cred. But he can't, that's the problem.
Right.
He's still a guy with street cred, so he's, quote, controversial, but the kids like him. So there he goes. He's hockey, like I said, his first love. He wanted to be a pro hockey player. He also played football and basketball.
Really?
When he was in high school, he was actually recruited also for basketball, almost played at Syracuse for basketball.
Wow.
Yeah, Jim Boeheim recruited him, the famous coach Jim Boeheim, a silver-haired, middle-aged white man to the highest of the highest order. But they had, what's his name, Dwayne Washington, Dwayne the Pearl Washington, who played for the Nets, I believe is his name. They had him at the time. They recruited him, and they said, they really didn't need both. So they lost interest in Tommy. They ditched Tommy, but they also turned Tommy on to the football coach, Dick McPherson, and said he's a hell of an athlete. You might want to look at him. And so that's how this came all about. He grows up in Montreal, and you would think Montreal, it's Canadian. Canadian, sorry, everybody, but if you're Canadian, you have to understand how the rest of the world looks at you. You're basically like a front yard with a snowman in it. and a friendly woman giving out hot chocolate. That's the world's image of you.
With an incredibly handsome leader, by the way.
Yeah.
Good job on that.
Trudeau, good job.
Yeah, you guys did a great job with that guy, and he seems to be like a very good leader. So congratulations.
His dad was prime minister also.
Really?
Over there. Yeah. But I don't even know.
Why do you know that?
I
don't know fuck about that.
I just read too much. That's
I
why
just saw that asshole get off a plane to meet our dick face, and I was like, that's a fucking world leader finally?
This isn't political. No. Anybody who would be in there, he'd be like, that dick face we got. It doesn't matter for Jimmy.
The last president's a dick face, too. They're all dick faces. My point is,
Jimmy has no views.
This guy gets off a plane, and I'm like, that's a goddamn leader? Are you shitting me? Yeah. He looked like he walked off the cover of Us Weekly.
Yeah, he's like their Kennedy, basically.
Unbelievable.
But we just look at you guys as like nice, and we don't picture you having bad neighborhoods.
You guys are great.
We don't even picture. We know there's bad neighborhoods. I know this for a fact. We've read a ton, and we've done stories of people from Canada, but to us, it's you all grow up like Brian Spencer. Episode 43, you all grow up in a cabin with your own ice rink outside.
Dad building a Zamboni.
Yeah. You run your house on kerosene and you shoot moose from the window for dinner. That's literally what Brian Spencer said he did. That's how we picture Canada, even as wrong as that is. But
I get all my knowledge about Canada from this podcast.
From this podcast. That's terrific. I think I do too, so that's sad. He grows up, like I said, Montreal in the Little Burgundy neighborhood, which, again, you wouldn't imagine that would be a rough neighborhood named after a wine region in France. You know what I mean?
No. Or a soft, lovely color.
You don't imagine, though, because it's French Canada here.
You heard about those gangsters over there over on the turquoise block, right?
but you just don't expect it from a region of France. Right. That's going to be tough. You know what I mean? It's just
the guys from the Champagne district.
Where's the Beurre-Blanc gang? Right. We don't want to get them in here. That'll be rough. The Champagne district. The Champagne district. I like that the best. It's a district. It's
they
not
are
a neighborhood.
Fucking rough and tumble fellas.
Just popping corks at you.
Yeah.
So it's a rough neighborhood. Like
do it with
a
knife too. They fucking
pow shoots right off. Yeah, like
they're not assaulting you with the knife. They're assaulting you with the cork.
No, they do it like when what are they
a really nice waiter fucking pours a bunch of it down a pyramid of fucking wine glasses.
You always see that with like crazy Armenian people partying. Like they're like and they cut the thing off. Everybody and they seriously like from Armenia.
Everybody.
Yeah, everything's gold and leopard print and they're cutting. They have like a centaur cutting off the top of the fucking champagne bottle. Ridiculous, like a fat guy pouring it on scantily clad women.
Hilarious.
Armenians, I feel like they looked at the real Armenians, and even ones here because I know some. I feel like they looked at rap videos from the 90s and said that we will do that someday, and they've just kept that goal, and that's what they're doing now.
Including the Kardashians, because they're Armenian too. They kept the same shit.
Same shit, man.
Put our big asses on the screen. Rub your titties on the glass.
He said he stopped playing hockey because he said it was of racism. He said. Which,
I would assume
I'm
that.
thinking that in the 70s and early 80s in Canada, there might not be a lot of black kids from the Little Burgundy neighborhood running around on skates, so that might have been a thing. I'm not sure if we just said that later.
It's that shit seems to cost a lot of money. The equipment for it
does.
You know?
I guess if you're really good, someone will help you, and he's super athletic, so they were like, let's get this kid some skates here.
You can't just strap pillows to your legs and just go out there and start stopping fucking pucks.
Yeah, it's not like basketball where you can get 10 kids in one ball and you got yourself a game.
Everybody chips in $2 and you buy a ball.
No, it's not like that.
Or you order a pizza and get a free ball. You know what I mean? One of those
exactly.
stupid NCAA.
Yeah. Not like hockey. Hockey is very expensive. Yeah. This area, all the kids are hooligans in this area. Yeah. All of them. It's just running wild. Tommy does a lot of street crime in this back when he's a kid. He's a total hoodlum on the street.
Just a
complete
starts
criminal.
Early.
Street crime, fights, burglary, car theft, shit like that. This is when he said this is all before he's out of grammar school.
Really?
He's getting in trouble
Not
with
even
the law.
7th grade and he's already a scumbag.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far grammar school runs in Canada, but either way, he's young. He's under 14 and he's doing this.
He can't serve life without parole as an adult yet, and he's already pulling the dumb shit.
Yep, he gets arrested when he's a kid for breaking and entering, gets arrested for burglary, gets arrested for stealing a car.
Those are the ones.
He's a bad kid, basically. Now, some people say he's a horrible kid. Even he has a statement about how he was. But there's a friend of his A guy named Dean Smith, not the longtime North Carolina head coach, not the Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame head coach Dean Smith. Dean Smith sounds like he's from an island of some kind, and he's a big, giant, bald black guy that grew up with him and played some football with him growing up. And he's his buddy, and he talks to him right till the end and everything. We're going to hear a lot from him because he's got some insight on Tommy.
All right.
He says, quote, "There's guys in the neighborhood that did as much as him or more than him that went to prison. He wasn't on that level, but he'd get in fights with guys on the street and steal here and there and that sort of thing." So he's like, yeah, he was a hoodlum, basically. Yeah. That's it. He wasn't, he wasn't a master criminal or a murderer.
But he got in trouble.
He got in trouble. He was a jerk-off kid. He's also known as a kid to dabble in a little cocaine here and there.
Oh, as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, as a teenager. Well, he's running around the street stealing shit, breaking in, getting arrested.
What's the difference?
Might as well snort a line or two. We have an In Their Own Words on growing up. Ooh, In Their Own Words.
This is early.
Coming early today. In Their Own Words on growing up. Quote, "Sure, I was in trouble with the law. Not regularly, but I was in trouble. And most of the kids I was with then are in jail or coming out of jail. They weren't good enough athletes or good enough students. It's a vicious cycle. They have nothing to do and no jobs, and they end up in jail and come out and go back again." Which is,
that's just the system. That's how it works.
That's a Wu-Tang song.
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
That's what happens.
That's what happens,
and it sucks. It's shitty that when you go to jail, you get out and you have fines now, and then how the fuck are you going to pay those? You don't have a job, so I'm gonna sell some blow to get those fines paid off. Get my life back on track.
If you never have any money to start out with, it's hard to get.
It's hard to get
footing.
Money.
It's hard to get footing. Exactly. And if you get caught doing something, then you're all the way back behind
where you started. Right.
You're behind. You're 10
and minus
$200.
Not just exactly. Not just don't collect it.
They kick your ass off of dough and rip it out of your hand and say, "We're taking Baltic too, fuckhead." And you're like, "Shit."
And then go earn $200 more and pay that too.
Yeah. We'll be
crazy.
here. We'll be waiting for you.
It's a shit system, but I get it. It's just.
It's a shit system.
It fucks poor people.
It does fuck poor people good. And this is in Canada where they're much better to poor people than they are here. If that's what it's like here, whatever he said, multiply by 10 for the U.S. Because
at least if he got a cold, he could go get fucking Medicare.
There you go.
I mean, he's got that going for him.
Yeah, kids here that don't even have health insurance.
Right.
People that don't have health insurance.
He can still go get some goddamn antibiotics, a little fucking penicillin, and he can clear it right up, but he's still... the system.
I hear one cough and I run away. Somebody asked me to play basketball like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, yeah. And then I thought about it, and I was like, actually, no. If something happens, I break my leg, I'll be in debt for the rest of my fucking life. I don't have health insurance, so no.
And this podcast is fucked because you can't drive with broken legs.
I literally don't do things because I'm scared of being hurt because I don't want to be in debt for the rest of my goddamn life.
Patreon.com/GunnerSports.
There you go. Front slash, by the way. Front
slash.
So he meets a woman and a girl at this point when he's a teenager. He meets a girl named Tamara Sheikh. Mm-hmm. Okay, Tamara is a nice girl. Yeah. She lives with her family. Her family are from Trinidad. Okay. They are super strict. House is traditional. Yeah. It's strict. They keep her in line. Yeah. She's like a nerdy girl.
Uh-oh.
She's like very good in school. She's very studious.
He's going to get her to blow him.
Well, not now. Not yet. She actually likes Tommy and she doesn't usually like the kind of thuggish guys, but she likes Tommy. Something about Tommy. All the women in this documentary said when he was younger, all the girls liked Tommy.
All right.
He was a good-looking guy, a slick guy, great athlete, a lot of confidence. And in that neighborhood, he was like, he's
the guy.
He's going to go somewhere. Right. Everyone else, they're going to jail. He's actually going to go elsewhere, right. Maybe away from Canada, possibly. He's going to make it, basically. Because Canada, there's a big thing I noticed in Canada, and I know a few Canadians that talk about this too, like Canadian comics and things like that.
Yeah.
If you make it in Canada, it's terrific, and they love it. But there's something about if you go to the States and make it, you are even huger back there. Like, you've conquered the States.
Wow.
And fuck the States, and you conquered them, and you're ours, and that makes you a hometown hero. It really is. And they go here for the money, basically.
I think that's probably like that around the world, too. Like, if you make it big in our city, what the fuck? But if you make it big in the States, you're a monster.
It's weird, yeah.
But at the same time, be famous. Who gives a shit?
It's pretty nice up there.
Yeah.
I think about that. I know.
Health coverage.
I know a comic who is like a god in Canada, and then in the U.S. he's barely known, and he's still fights and bashes around here and tries to tour and do clubs, and he does little clubs, and he does 3,000-seat theaters in Canada.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous, but he still wants to be a star here. And he is kind of a star. We'll get past that. Anyway. he meets her, just trying to get some Canada background. Like I said, she likes Tommy. She has a boyfriend at the time. And, things just kind of, they never get together, basically. They kind of see each other. He thinks she's
the
cute.
one that got away.
Yeah, whatever. So, anyway, Tommy gets
It's a love story. This is sweet.
It actually
right now.
is super sweet in the beginning. When you hear what happens, it's amazing. You're like, this is nice. Like, hey, look at that.
This is great.
Feel good for people for a minute, actually.
You root for him.
Yeah, Tommy here. Kid from the middle of nowhere, from a shithole.
It's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, and now he's being recruited to major colleges. Yeah. Major U.S. colleges, which is a big deal. He's being recruited for football now in the late 80s. In the mid-'80s by Miami, the Hurricanes, with Jimmy Johnson at the helm, who's won a bunch of Super Bowls and national championships. And
he's a Hall of Famer.
Took
Isn't
Miami.
he a Hall of Famer yet?
I believe he is. And he should be if he isn't. He's got rings all over.
I think he got in this year.
I think so, too, or last year or something. I can't keep track of Jimmy Johnson. He's
I'm
annoying and his hair
Keep
sucks.
Going. I'm going to have to. And I hate every gum. And
hate
he's
every
a
team he's ever coached, too, which doesn't help, but great coach.
He's like fucking...
He's very famous.
He's like the Bears coach.
Ditka.
Yeah, where he can't stop chewing on fucking gum. Get the gum out of your fucking mouth, Johnson.
Can't stop yapping. I love when Jimmy Johnson, too. This is what I love about ex-coaches when they are on. Sidebar for 2 seconds here on a sports thing. Whenever you're watching a pregame show and they're all giving their predictions, right? And you're like, Shannon Sharp says something, and you're like, whatever, dipshit, and somebody else says something, fucking
take it easy on my Shannon Sharp.
Fucking, I like Shannon Sharp, but Howie Long says something, and you're like, whatever, cop hair, fucking whatever. Yeah, we got that. And then like Jimmy Johnson's on the show, a coach who studied film and knows everything, and he gives you his prediction, and he's like, look, I watched the film. Their secondary cannot hold this guy. They're going to run this play. It's no problem. And then that shit doesn't happen at all. And you're like...
And then he runs all over him all day long.
Yeah, you're like, how the fuck were you... what happened? What if I bet on that based on that information? That sounded so convincing and logical, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, the good news is he's not a coach anymore, so he can just blurt that shit out, and it doesn't matter.
He says it so confidently, though. He's like, well, there's no way the run game can get past these two defensive tackles, so that'll be done. So they can't do that. They can't pass. It's going to be 31-0 now. And you're like, no, that guy ran for 140 yards, and it didn't happen like that. You're
That's
an idiot.
Hilarious. Jimmy Johnson is not in the Hall of Fame.
No, okay. Well, good, because he's an idiot on commentary. Fuck him. Anyway, so they're recruiting him. Like I said, Miami and Syracuse were big powers, too. Yeah. Syracuse is kind of down a little now, but they were big in the 80s. That was a powerful program all around in the 80s.
Orangeman, right?
Yeah, even in the 90s when they had Donovan McNabb come out in basketball.
That's right, Donovan McNabb did play there.
Derek Coleman came out in basketball.
That's right.
Like, they had some big stars coming out of Syracuse back in those days. So he chooses Syracuse over Miami.
What?
Yeah, we know from our other podcast, we did a town near Syracuse. Yeah. It's a dump in Syracuse.
It's terrible.
It's freezing. It rains. It snows feet. It's fucking horrible. But for him, I'm thinking, because he likes to go back to the old neighborhood.
He's close by.
Likes to see his family.
Get back over the border, go back home for a little bit. Miami's a fucking another 6 hours away.
And you can't get any more different from Canada than Miami.
Yeah.
That's way different. Whereas Syracuse...
Oh, look at you.
Syracuse
I like this deduction.
Yeah, Syracuse is basically Canada.
Canada light.
It is. Like, I'm from New York. Yeah. Anything up there, you might as well be Canada. You can have it. It just snows a lot. Enjoy. Knock yourself out. As long as you let us come up there and fish once in a while. That's what people like to do there.
Let us see those falls, and we'll be all right.
We're fine. Otherwise, whatever.
That's the only reason we're keeping it is the tourism of Niagara. That's it.
And we have to split that, too.
Right.
We're like, you don't have
they got one side, we got one side.
And they have Toronto, which is a really nice city. And we have fucking Buffalo, which is the armpit taint of New York, or of the whole United States.
Right.
Sorry, Buffalo. I've been there. That peel the paint off the wall fucking accent you guys have. Wow. I stayed there for a day when we were shooting a documentary, and I walked through this bar. We were eating, and I walked through to the bathroom, and the cacophony of nasally, it's like if you mix Chicago and New York together, you get this horrible nasally New York accent with a touch of Canadian to it. And you're
Terrific.
Just like, oh God, my teeth hurt, my fillings were rattling.
It's like biting tinfoil.
It was just like biting tinfoil. I was like, oh God, I got to get out of this city.
That's awesome.
But I got to say, the people were really cool in Buffalo. They were nice and really fun to hang out with and shit. But man,
good people talk
good
terribly.
People. I just wanted to put like a filter, like a voice filter in front of them, or would come out not in that accent.
Like
Please.
A pillow.
Please, yeah. Here you go. No, what's that? Can't hear you, buddy.
Can't hear you.
Oh, you want to breathe, probably, there, guy.
Yeah, it's down. Keep going. Keep trying.
So he goes to Syracuse. He plays there for 3 years. 85 is his I guess, freshman year. He is it's no stats. He doesn't play. I guess they redshirt him his first year. So doesn't play at all in 85. 86 starts getting into the offense a little bit.
All right.
Starts getting into it.
Gets worked into the system.
He's nasty on the field. He really is. And in 86, he played in all 11 games because back then they would play 11 games in a bowl game pretty much would be the standard. He had 19 receptions for 339 yards, which is good in college for a kid who's playing his first year in college. Really.
19 receptions, 339 yards?
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's
for a bench
fantastic.
Guy. He's not he's not a number one receiver. He's a kid.
How many yards is that? That's a lot.
Not bad. 330, that's 17.8 per
that's
catch.
Great.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So you're pulling your weight.
Pulling first downs every time you grab a ball.
They're looking at him going, that's a guy. When he's a junior and senior, that's going to be a guy we can do something with. He's becoming a bigger star.
How many touchdowns?
3.
3. That's great.
Not bad. 3 out of 19 receptions. I'll take that.
Every 6 catches, he's in the end zone.
Not too shabby. Now we have in their own words here on his early life. This is from a later on in an 87 interview that I found somewhere, God knows how. Wow, this was some digging shit. Whenever we do stories that take place in other countries, the digging is so much harder to do. Like the Russian shit last week, I can't tell you how hard it was to find things about how a guy fared in a Norwegian court. It was not easy. I don't
Americans
know what to look for.
love to talk shit about people too.
We do.
So when it's one of our own, we can't put enough websites up about it.
Can't.
But for God's sakes, our networks and our news don't cover it.
No.
It's just citizens talking shit about somebody.
Just talking shit. Half of it.
That's why Facebook's so big.
Horribly uninformed. Just talking shit with no information whatsoever.
Just spewing garbage. Guess what I heard?
Now I will spew a lot of shit and I'll spew a lot of garbage, but I'll fucking look everything up first. All of my shit is backed up.
Let you know who
facts,
we heard it from.
Damn it. That's right. So we have it in their own words on his early life here and just his being happy of being out of here. He keeps using the word out and into a better environment, and he's proud of himself because he should be. Goddammit, he worked hard.
Burgundy sounds nice, but goddammit, it's not.
Not nice. So we have in their own words, quote, I grew up in kind of a rough neighborhood. I wanted very much to get out, and I'm very happy I got out. You don't have to be an athlete to get out. Education is a way out, but a very tough way out. Unless you're an A student in every class, you can't get an academic scholarship. Most all the kids there can't afford to get an education in college without a scholarship, so the only way to get out and get a scholarship to the United States, to a college, is to have all A's, or else be an athlete. So he's playing it out.
That's a well stated thing for a guy that's been arrested so many times.
Yeah, for a guy who's but he sees it. Yeah. He's like, look, man, there's a way out. There's 2 ways out.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to do it academically, or not many people are.
But guess who can catch a ball and 3 touchdowns?
But I'll do it myself. Yeah, I can do this. So 87 in college, boy, he has a good year, great year. Also, by the way, in that interview, he said that he was told that he was good enough to play in the NHL. Which I don't know if that's true or not. But
fascinating.
I think it's kind of funny that if it was true, it'd be hilarious. Yeah. It'd be weird. And if it wasn't true, then it's kind of funny that he would bring that up just to try to show off, which I think is ridiculous.
Just to spout something that sounds great.
Yeah.
Or that was his original pick, his original sport. So he wants to tell people that, look, listen, this was not my second pick. I could have been drafted there, but guess who wanted the education?
They were racist, so my skills didn't count, basically.
If you can't succeed, blame everybody else.
Yeah, which, I mean, he is succeeding, so I guess I don't know if that's
if you can't succeed at the NHL, blame everybody else and then go another way.
And then go succeed here. At 87, though, he has a terrific year. He's the leading receiver on the team. He still has a record for yards per reception that still held at Syracuse. Yeah, it's like 22 yards a reception or 21.7, I believe. Unbelievable. His jumping ability is like renowned. Like everyone says, Jesus, that guy can jump. He's got a crazy vertical leap. Just a great athlete. Yeah. I mean, in college, you can dominate as a receiver if you're just more athletically gifted than the cornerback.
If you can just get higher than the cornerback to get the ball, then you're going to succeed.
And he's fast, too. 87 is when he has his monster year. Huge. 11 games, 44 receptions, which is for a game, which is really good for college, especially in the 80s.
Good in the NFL.
It is. Well, they didn't throw it wasn't all spread offense in the 80s. There's a lot of teams ran the option a lot with the quarterback.
Lots of fullbacks.
It wasn't the same. When people were running wishbones and shit, it was way different. But
flea flicker was in. Like that was a common play.
Yeah, 44 receptions, 968 yards, 22 yards per reception, which is monstrous. That's enormous.
And I realized, by the way, that the flea flicker is a throwing play.
I get you. I know. I looked at it. We'll let it pass. 14 touchdowns, which is huge. Leads the nation.
Really?
Leads all of college football with 14 touchdowns, and it's a Syracuse record. The nearest guy closest to him is 11 in the Syracuse record books. Yeah, and that record will hold for 29 years.
Wow.
So big deal. It's a 14 touchdowns.
It just
monstrous.
fell.
Yeah, it just fell. It was tied, actually.
Okay.
We'll get into that, too, at the end here. He has a 4-touchdown game that year.
My God.
Which in college, you have a 4-touchdown game.
Absurd.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Don McPherson was the quarterback, and he was a really good quarterback. He came in second in the Heisman voting that year. Yeah, huge.
All because of him.
He was
All
his main target.
Yep.
And you know that because when we get to the draft, you can see who's more important in draft status. 1987, still in this article, Tommy says that it is his goal to bring his parents out of poverty, both of them, even though his dad left, doesn't care, and into a better place.
That's such a nice thing to do.
It is. He says he has 2 sisters, and he said, quote, one's in school and one's on welfare. They're coming out too.
Wow.
So he's saying, I'm bringing them out of this ghetto too. I'm not fucking around here. I'm taking care of my family. I'm getting out. I'm going to be a role model.
Yeah.
And he really feels that way.
So far, he's a hero.
He is. Former teammate Deval Glover, we'll hear a bunch from him also. He says, quote, he understood where he came from and that he had to be tough in that environment. But once he reached college, where we met him, he seemed to be polished. So even by the time he got to college, he wasn't even doing this ghetto shit anymore. He was having a straight-laced type of thing. This guy reminds me so much of OJ.
Yeah.
So much of OJ because OJ, if you know OJ's backstory, OJ came from a horrible neighborhood, total ghetto. He was a thug when he was a kid, got in trouble constantly. Same exact thing. Once he got to college, he said, oh, I'm in a different environment, and he adapted to that environment, which is exactly what Tommy's a good adapter.
Does.
Like a sociopath does. You know exactly where I was going with that.
I love it.
Exactly where I was going.
He's just got to blend in so that he's not seen.
Absolutely. Wait until you hear exactly how similar he is to OJ. It's amazing. It's like if OJ had a little brother, it would be this guy. The little brother I never had,
the little
Tommy
chameleon,
Kane.
yeah.
But he can fit into any environment. He can fit in. If he's in a ghetto environment, he'll fit in. If he's in a higher education, he'll fit into that too. He's a sociopath.
He's in some environment where there's reporters with microphones and asking questions. He can deliver a fantastic quote.
As we saw, a well thought out, true, actual, he sees the world and he can show that he sees it. He's not a moron. Now, 1987 also, the Miami Hurricanes, who were his second choice to go, that was their best year ever. Okay. They go 12-0 and win the national championship that year, so he could have been there. That's Jimmy Johnson coaching. Michael Irvin is one of the receivers. I believe The Rock is on that team. If not, The Rock was there the next year.
He was there that year, I believe.
I believe he was too. So, I mean, that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Right. Very famous people are on that team. It's a huge, huge deal. He probably wouldn't have been the number one receiver, though, with Michael Irvin on the team.
No, he wouldn't have been.
So that's that. Syracuse themselves, they have a great year. They go 11-0-1.
Wow.
That's terrific. Finished number 4 in the country.
They tied,
and it's sad, too, the way they did it. They went 11-0, and then in the last game, it was the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans versus Auburn. They had a 16-16 tie.
Damn it.
Which sucks, and they finish at number 4.
Otherwise,
overall.
they're number 2.
Otherwise, they would have been number 2. Yeah, Miami was not going to be number 1 no matter what, but they would have went in number 2 instead of Florida State and finished number 2 that year. Like I said, quarterback Don McPherson's number 2 in the Heisman voting, thanks to Tommy.
Yeah.
1988 comes along. That's 87 was his last year he played football for Syracuse, but 88, he's early 88, he's finishing out his college education. He's a very good student too.
Really?
That's the other thing. He doesn't just go up there and get D's either. He does well. He graduates. Doesn't just.
What's his degree in?
Marketing.
Wow.
It's not even sports.
No, he's got a thought in his head about what he's going to do after this shit.
Not sports nutrition or some horse shit like that, like a lot of these guys. No, not a PE degree. Right. He got a goddamn marketing degree.
Great.
Which you think, wow, he's doing so well.
Right.
How well is this guy doing? He came from shit.
I wouldn't know to put this all on track and put this together like this so far. This is great.
I'm so proud of this guy right now. I really, just like everyone was proud of OJ at USC. They were like, man, look at that OJ. He came from nowhere. Look at him run, boy. He's going to win the Heisman.
I swear he's going to be a Naked Gun one day.
I swear we're going to laugh at him as Nordberg. It's going to happen. I swear to God. He's going to
roll down the street on a creepy crawler underneath a car one day.
Man, so we're so proud of him. He's come from nowhere. His dad left when he was 3.
Yeah.
He wants to get his mom and his sisters out of poverty.
He's even going to take care of his dad.
He's going to take care of him anyway because, God damn it, that's what he's there for.
Right.
He's going home, too, in the off season, and when he has time, he's going home to see his family. He's hanging out with all the kids in the neighborhood, like the little kids, to be a role model.
Yeah.
Like, he shows up, they surround him.
Yeah, you don't have to be an asshole.
He's on TV.
Right.
So they go up to him, and he's like, hey, kids, he signs autographs. He's telling me, you guys staying in school, get your education, can't, if you not everybody can catch passes like that, so you want to get out of here. And he's giving him the same speech he gave to the newspaper.
Sure.
You got to get an education and that sort of thing. So he's
I'm
really
going to
trying.
be in the NFL, but guess who also has a marketing degree? Because I'm not a dummy. I figured out how to get through marketing school and actually learn how to market shit.
At a real university.
Right.
This wasn't like, Little Burgundy Community College. He went to Syracuse.
This is Syracuse.
Which, it's upstate New York, but it's still a goddamn good, decent school.
I have an orange and blue helmet.
That's right. They're involved in some shit. So you think this is going great. You feel so good for him. Also, too, he's being scouted for the NFL.
Yeah.
This is it. It's 88. The NFL draft is at the end of April, and so he's getting ready for that.
Fixing to go to a combine.
Fixing to go to the combine. He's getting all ready. He's excited. And then April 13th, 1988 happens. And he does some indescribably stupid shit.
That's some Burgundy neighborhood behavior.
This is beyond the Burgundy neighborhood. This is not Canadian behavior, what he does right here. This is strictly U.S. behavior here.
So un-Canadian of him.
Yes, Tommy has a lot of parking tickets in college.
Oh, God.
Ton of parking, which he's a college kid, whatever. He's a jerk-off. Kids park, and then they throw the ticket in the back seat, whatever. So there's a lot of parking tickets. And apparently there's a bit of an altercation as a female officer named Officer Lisa Phelan was about to have his Cadillac towed. By the way, he comes from nothing, and he drives a Cadillac.
Now I don't like him.
Is there no? Is there a silver-haired middle-aged white man in his fucking thing here?
And I can't
ridiculous.
fault him for accepting it. But
we've read all of these guys did. When we were reading Dexter Manley, and he was like, I remember the day Elvis died was the day I got a new Lincoln. The guy Booster gave me the keys and said,
it was on the radio.
Absolutely. Yep. So he's got a Cadillac, which is not, he's a great receiver. The Boosters hooked him up. This is the 80s when shit was dirty. Like college sports are dirty now when it comes to that, recruiting violations all through the years. But in the 80s, it was, Wild West. SMU was getting the death penalty with their programs. They were trying to shut that shit down.
But the positive part of this is that if you got a car in the 80s gifted to you, it was a piece of shit. The 80s were the worst.
It was a terrible
the worst
car.
10 years.
You thought it was a nice car, but it wasn't.
It
was
says
awful.
Cadillac on it, but it's not those big boat nice ones. It's the fucking, they're terrible. Those 80s
no power.
Burgundy interior.
Well, he got burgundy.
He did. Yeah. Red leather.
He called it Merlot, though. He got me a Merlot.
It was white with Merlot interior.
It was. I like it. So they're about to tow his Cadillac, which you don't tow a dude from the ghetto's Cadillac.
No.
He's like, hey, I count a lot of passes for that. Come back here.
14 touchdowns in one season, to be exact.
Absolutely. So he's pissed. Turns out, by the way, he had 19 outstanding parking tickets.
Oh, my God.
19 and was on the city's scofflaw list. That's why they were towing the fucking thing, because it was like one of those, if you see this car, tow it.
See something, say something on this Cadillac.
This asshole is not paying his ticket. Guaranteed.
At some point, like, not for nothing, but if you get 5 and you keep chucking them and they don't show up, and nobody shows up to fuck with. You'll get to 19.
Maybe you're like
That's
John
my
Wayne
point.
Gacy. I buried 3 teenagers
Nobody
under the house.
showed up.
No one's
Nobody
here.
knocked.
I don't
So
know. Maybe
fuck
I'll
it.
clear out some room under the patio, I guess. I don't know. I think that's what it is. Same thought process.
It stinks in here, but nobody's showed up. It's so weird.
Yeah. So Kane catches her doing this and goes up and starts an altercation with her.
What?
Goes up, why are you doing that? It's a police officer and a female police officer at that. Just let it go.
Yeah. Walk away. You can't win in this situation.
Go get the silver-haired, middle-aged white man coached and go get the shit out of the
Whoever
impound.
got you the Cadillac, call that guy.
Yeah. Say, it's in the impound.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to catch some more passes, so you might want to get that, although he's done catching passes now for them.
Right.
But anyway, Kane ends up fighting with her. There's a scuffle.
Actually, like physically?
Actually wrestling with her. Tussling. Where he's trying to get in the car.
He doesn't know this is a bad idea?
No, he wants to get in the car and drive away so it's not towed, and she's trying to keep him out of the car.
As if a cop would do.
He shoves her aside because he's an athlete, about to be a professional athlete. He shoves her aside, and she reaches her hand in to try to grab the keys away from him. He closes the door on her arm, so she gets hurt from that.
Oh, no.
She is hanging off the car. He drives He starts driving with the
God.
police officer hanging off the car.
What an idiot.
Complete asshole. So
stupid.
She falls off the car. This isn't going to look good in court.
No.
Like, first of all, you can't do this to any cop, but then you're like, oh, it was a female officer, too. What are you thinking, you asshole? So she falls off the car. He drives away.
Yeah.
She goes and gets in her patrol car, obviously. She's not going to let that go, I don't think. She chases him down 4 blocks until he finally pulls over for her. I don't know if he thought, okay, I'm far enough where I'm not going to get towed now or what.
She ain't going to chase me this far.
She gets him out of the car, gunpoint at that point. She's not fucking around now. She is guns blazing in his face. Get out of the goddamn car. And she doesn't even go near him because she's afraid he's going to start physically assaulting her. So she keeps him at gunpoint as waiting for backup. Okay. So now this guy who's doing so well is now standing there at gunpoint in the middle of the street while some woman tries to,
It all just went so wrong.
That's wrong. That's terrible, right? It's unbelievable. I can't believe he dragged her. Hey, everybody. Just going to break away from the show for one moment to tell you about our sponsor this week.
Audible.com.
Guys, Audible.com. How do you not, if you're listening to us, how do you not already subscribe to Audible.com? It's the best. If you listen to us, this is like an hour 50 every week. You like long-form storytelling and that sort of thing. So get on Audible.com. They have every kind of book you can want. Stories, fiction, nonfiction, politics, biography, comedy, autobiography. Anything. Sports.
They read them to you.
They read them to you. And also, too, they switch between devices. You can start on your pad and finish on your computer, on your phone. It is amazing. All you need to do for this is you go to audibletrial.com/crime. Audibletrial.com/crime. What this will get you is a 30-day free trial.
Wow.
30 days free. And it will also get you a credit for a free audiobook on top of that.
That's great.
It's a great deal. So go ahead and do that. Can't recommend it enough. Great books read to you. What more can you ask for? So go ahead and do that. Go to audibletrial.com/crime. That's audibletrial.com/crime for your free trial. Do it today.
And now back to the show. He slammed her fucking hand in the door.
Yeah, he was like, nah, it's cool. No, I'm good. And just like tried to drive away. It's like, no, you're not good.
That's crazy.
You have to stop, asshole. What are you doing?
You don't just get to slam doors when people are when cops are reaching for you and trying to get you to stop.
After you physically shoved them out of the way while they told you not to do something.
No. I threw away 19 of them. You can't get me now. Is that his thought? Is that what he's saying?
I guess I'm the white whale, and he's going like Newman on Seinfeld. He's out of there. He's the white whale. He's going. So he obviously is charged with second-degree assault on a police officer, which is a big deal because this is literally 11 days before the NFL draft. Jeez. This is not the news you want coming out of anywhere, right? But he pleads not guilty. He's released on $250 bail, which seems low for what he did anyway. But he's got all that. Ends up in the end, what do you think he got for this?
At least a year.
You would imagine a suspended sentence, something. Community service.
Community service for evading police and hurting one.
A police officer. Second-degree assault on a police officer. He got community service.
And he didn't even serve it.
Wow. Fuck no. I guarantee.
Somebody signed off.
He did not serve shit on that. And that just shows you with a college town like this. In Syracuse, the college is the town.
That's what you can get away with.
It is the city. Yep. So, and if you're the star there, you are the star of the city, and that place runs on that. And they all need each other. It's a big. They're all sucking off each other. Well, not sucking off each other, but they're siphoning off.
They're sucking off each other.
Thing here. I blame silver-haired middle-aged white man Dick McPherson, the coach. Yes. I feel like he had a say.
He definitely heard something about this.
I feel like he was like,
there was a letter on his desk.
Let's fix this for you, Tommy. What do you say? So April 24th, 1988 is the NFL Draft. 1988 NFL Draft. It is at the Marriott Marquis in New York City.
That sounds beautiful.
And it's nice, and this was before it was a huge deal. It was on TV at this point, but it was on like ESPN, and nobody watched it, basically. It was on like a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock or some shit, which they still did till like 10 years ago. Remember that? I remember when Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, that draft, that shit was at like 7 in the morning. I had to wake up to see who got drafted. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Ridiculous. This was the draft.
Some shenanigans happened before you woke up. That's ridiculous.
That's silly. So this was the draft where huge bust goes number one. It's a great draft, too, otherwise. Terrific draft.
87?
88 draft. This is when Andre Bruce goes number one to the Falcons. Goes number one to Atlanta from Auburn from the school that they tied in the Sugar Bowl that year. So he goes number 1. He's a defensive end, crazy athletic defensive end who's just basically doesn't work out at all and ends up being a tight end in the end.
Was that Vermeil Falcons?
No, that was Jerry. I don't know who. I don't remember who was that. Jerry Glanville came in like 90. I'm not sure who was in the late 80s. I cannot remember. I can see his face.
Was Vermeil after Glanville?
I don't know. Vermeil of Falcons.
Wasn't
Vermeil
he with the Falcons?
The Rams and Eagles. Vermeil was Rams Eagles.
I don't know.
Were Eagles in the early was in the '80s Super Bowl with Jaworski losing to the Raiders, and then he was the
and Reeves
Super
was
Bowl
after
champion.
Glanville.
Yes, exactly. He was after the
think
Giants shit-canned Reeves. Yeah, it wasn't his fault. What was going on with the Giants? Anyway. He's a huge bust, Andre Bruce, the number 1 guy. He ends up being a tight end later. He's a mess. You don't want to draft a guy number 1 overall, and if he switches positions, that means you fucked up. He wasn't good at what you
scouted wrong.
You fucked it up bad at that point. A lot of other great players in this draft. Neil Smith is number 2 overall, the great Kansas City defensive end.
He's dead.
Is he dead? That's Derek Thomas.
Oh, yeah,
Neil Smith's
alive. You're right.
Great defensive end.
And he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he's the guy who used to wear the tape on his nose. He was one of the first guys to do that back in the day, wear the tape across the nose like a breathe right strip. And I used to go, what is he wearing? He was huge, man. Sterling Sharp, the terrific,
wide receiver for the Green Bay
unbelievable Packer receiver who hurt his neck and shortened his career.
Shannon
but he
Sharp's
was
brother.
Great. Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
And Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame Oakland Raider wide receiver. The Raiders. And a longtime punt returner, kick returner. He's a great player, Tim Brown from Notre Dame. So fast.
God, was he fast.
Heisman Trophy winner, I believe.
I believe so, too.
I believe he won it, and McPherson was second that year in 87. Also, too, Michael Irvin, number 11 with the Cowboys. Icky Woods doing the Icky Shuffle in the second round. So he's fun. You might know
he's about
him.
to learn something about dust fucking zombies.
You might know a little about Icky Woods from him being on commercials. Like, what is he, spiking a loaf of bread on the ground after he does the Icky
the cold
shuffle?
cuts.
Spikes the cold cuts on the ground. Yeah, that's Icky Woods. He's round 2.
And he lost a Super Bowl because of one of our other fucking scumbags.
Exactly, because of Stanley Wilson took it away from him. That's, I think, episode 39. You can go back and listen to Stanley Wilson. Also, Thurman Thomas in the second round. Another Hall of Famer, one of the best players I've ever seen play.
4-time Super Bowl loser.
Amazing. 4-time. But he was great.
Yeah, he was
fantastic.
amazing.
Running back can only do so much.
That's true.
Can't take you there. You need some defense. Now, round 3, pick 75.
That's what happens when you got... Never mind.
What? Go ahead.
That's what happens when you have a tiny little white fucking receiver.
Oh, and
Don
Beebe
is not going to get you a fucking Super Bowl.
No, Andre Reed was great, though.
Yeah.
And they had James Lofton in the early 90s, too. Fast son of a bitch.
Andre Reed.
God, I love those teams. I loved watching...
They were so good.
Early 90s football, I just love it so much. It's so great.
It's real football.
You can literally go on right now and just click 1989 NFL and watch highlights.
Yeah.
Watch, they have NFL prime times from then. It's amazing how different the football is. And it's great. It's so much fun. It's open more. They say it's all open now, but there's not penalties every 5 seconds then. So the game actually flows. It's really fun to watch.
And you can clobber a receiver. That's fucking great.
Quarterbacks, receivers, you can do anything you want. Guy has a concussion, he's back in a play later. I was watching an NFL primetime a while back, and I was actually watching it for, I can't remember which episode, but it was one of our, I think it was Dexter Manley, because Dexter Manley was on the Bucs at this time, and I wanted to see if he was on the highlight reel, and he was. They were like, there's Dexter Manley, and I saw him in uniform, and like, didn't do anything today. It's like, that's useless, so I watched that for an hour for nothing. I literally watched that for that line and go, okay, that index card's worthless. But I saw Tom Waddle, the ex-Bear receiver, little white receiver, get a horrific concussion on a play. Horrific. Couldn't get up. They had to carry him off the field like on the coach's arms. Came back a play later. They were like, his bell's ringing, but he's tough. I'm like, his bell's ringing. He's tough. He doesn't even know where he is.
No.
He goes, catches a touchdown, gets hit again, lays like he's dead on the turf for a while, and then they pick him up and break him off the thing, and he's like, he can't like open his eyes, and he's holding his head, and they're like, he's going to have an Excedrin headache, but boy, it's worth it. They're like, he's going to have brain damage.
That's football.
Yeah, he's going to have brain damage, not an Excedrin headache. You just gave him 2 major concussions in a 4-minute period. That can't be good for you. Jesus Christ.
He's going to have lesions on his brain.
Totally. So round 3, pick 75, Seattle takes Tommy Kane.
All right.
Seattle Seahawks take him as a wide receiver. This is right after Pro Bowl cornerback James Hasty and right before half-decent quarterback Chris Chandler, who you might remember took the 98 Falcons to the Super Bowl to lose to your Broncos.
Yes.
So Right before and right after they take him.
Did he play for the Cardinals too?
Played for the Cardinals too.
Right.
Played for the Cardinals. Played for Atlanta, and also a few picks later, Bill Romanowski, another guy I know you have an affinity for.
He kind of can go fuck himself.
Yeah, he's a jackass. He's a fucking idiot. But
he went to the Raiders, and
yeah,
when he went to the Raiders after leaving Denver, they asked him if his move was okay, and he said, the only bad thing was my goldfish died, but the bastard was orange anyway. That motherfucker shit on the Broncos through his fish.
Yeah.
He shit on Denver through his fish.
You hold grudges. I don't like him just because he's a dickhead.
His fucking steroid-riddled fucking neck. What a monster.
He attacked teammates physically in practice. He's a total asshole.
He was.
Also, too, later on picks, a couple of good defensive backs, Chuck Cecil and Chris Dishman also from back then. July 12th, 1988. He signs with Seattle.
Okay.
So he's an NFL player now.
All right.
Third-round pick, NFL player. Back home in Little Burgundy, the neighborhood, he's the hero.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he made it.
He's
made it
in the
NFL
States.
now.
You bet.
Forget it. I mean, that's as big as you can be.
Right.
Continues to come back to the old neighborhood again, talks to OJ, talks to kids. This is where he's not like OJ. This is where OJ didn't come back at all. OJ, that's his whole thing. He was like, oh, not black anymore. Okay, moving on. Like, he actually came back to the old neighborhood, tried to help the kids, donated money to charities, did all that. A family friend named Jewel Jones, who's this kind of cool old island lady. I like her. She's cool. She says, quote, that's how we saw him, a hero coming out of Little Burgundy in Montreal. So he was representing them, to the T. 1988 is his rookie season in the NFL.
Yep.
He tries. He doesn't play much because he's a rookie. And back then, they'd ease you in. And they still had Steve Largent and shit back then on Seattle. So, calm down, kid. He plays in 9 games. He's banged up a lot, too. The beginning of his career is very, very injury-laden. There's a lot of leg injuries, knees, Achilles, ankle, a lot of things that would hamper a fast wide receiver with athletic ability. He plays in 9 games, only has 6 receptions, 32 yards, 5.3 yards a catch, and 0 touchdowns. Also gets some concussions that year. Starts getting some concussions now, too, which is another problem. And his ex-teammates bring it up a lot. They're like, he had a lot of concussions. Like, he was a tough guy. He'd go back out there, but he got dinged up a lot. So that can contribute to, lack of impulse control.
Sure.
And, that's going to come in big later on.
Yeah.
1989 Seattle, he plays in 5 games. Again, he's banged up a little. Has 7 receptions, 94 yards, a little better on the average, 13.4. 0 touchdowns, though. Again, gets some concussions, has a knee injury, his Achilles, his ankle, same injuries bothering him again.
That's not good.
Not good at all. Now, remember Tamara Sheikh?
Yes.
Okay, Tamara.
Yes.
He runs back into Tamara in
The
the old
nerdy girl.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
The nerdy nice girl. Runs back into Tamara in the old neighborhood. She has become a very upstanding citizen. She's a bank teller at this point. She's 22 years old, got a nice job as a bank teller.
Right.
Making a nice little way for herself out of the bad neighborhood, too. The women liked him.
She's not a banker star in America yet. But.
No, maybe she'll get down here. We'll get her at a Citibank and she'll get rolling, but I don't know. We'll
maybe
see.
She'll be a hedge fund manager later.
Maybe. She'll make it big. The women like Tommy, obviously, all these women at this point back home. He'd go home and he's the hero. He's he's got money.
Yeah.
He's signed a bunch. He's famous. He's on television. They like each other, Tommy and Tamara. They kind of hang out. He calls her Tammy. We can call her Tammy for the rest of the time. Teammates in Seattle even say that he talks about her all the time with the teammates. So he's smitten with this girl.
Really? He's telling his boys about her. Yeah.
He's still going out and sticking his dick in anything he can put it in.
But when he comes
this
back.
This is the one he likes.
Yeah.
This is the one he's like, I actually dig this girl. I don't want to kick her out as soon as I'm done.
I don't care about these trollops, but that one I give a shit.
And his friends say it's because he trusts her more than these other women. Because she's not looking for anything.
Right.
She's honest. She's trustworthy. He's known her since she was 16 or 15, so he knows what she's all about, knows where she came from. They share similar backgrounds.
Yep.
They're a good couple. He thinks she's honest and trustworthy, basically. And also, too, she hasn't said shit about his carousing. So she doesn't know about it or she's ignorant of it. And
I'm going with option A.
Either way, she hasn't said shit. So he's gonna ride this wave out for as long as possible. 1990, August 6th, 1990, there's an article I see where they're talking about Tommy's right knee is hurt. He hurt it in practice in the training camp.
Okay.
And the team's offensive coordinator, John Becker, tells the press, quote, Tommy was in a lot of pain the other day when we finished up practicing. It's a real concern to me because I'd really like to have him back.
Yeah.
So they want him, actually.
Absolutely.
They're like, look, this kid's got skills, and every time we think it's going to cook, he gets hurt.
Right.
It's one of those where
we got a draft pick on him.
Yeah.
And we want him to be good.
This is year 3, too.
We need him.
90 is year 3.
Right.
So they're like, let's get going
Could use
here.
a receiver.
By year 3, you want to get some payoff for a draft pick. Now, October 3rd, 1990, has a great game on the field. Terrific game on the field. He comes back in 1990 from this injury strong. It's a bad knee injury, and he just pretty much ignores it. He had surgery the year before. Didn't matter. He's just going forward.
Holy shit.
He catches a 63-yard touchdown pass that day, which is a huge deal, big exciting play. You know, everybody was looking
Anything
at him
over
all the
40
highlights.
is crazy.
Yeah, 63 is huge, especially for this kid because I think it's like his second career touchdown too. So
really,
it's a big deal. Yeah,
63 that went for a touchdown.
It was a 63-yard touchdown. Yeah, so he's having a great day. Feels terrific. Leaves the game, and he's told that his father died in Montreal.
What the fuck?
So that's a little less of a good time. And also,
at least you don't have to get him out of the ghetto.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You can leave him there now. It's fine.
It's kind of a double celebration. He left when he was 3, number one.
Hey, you're saving some money.
Right. You're saving cash, and you just got a 63-yard touchdown. Kind of a big day.
Probably got to pay for the funeral, though, for being honest. So
but you know what? That's cheaper than a house.
It probably is cheaper than a house. You're
and
right.
It's a forever home.
Check. It's a forever home. You'll stay here forever, Dad. No utilities.
like he's a Shih Tzu fucking forever home.
No utilities, anything. It's beautiful.
Right.
So Tommy, he's told his dad's dead. Tommy's going to return to the funeral, to Montreal for the funeral, and then return back to the team on Friday. This is on a Monday he leaves. Yeah. This is a weird thing before we get into this quick. This is the time when I saw an article in the paper where he's roommates with a guy named Derek Fenner, who's an old Seattle running back who was just coming back from a cocaine suspension.
Oh,
and
shit.
They put him with a kid. There's your roommates. Like, don't put the kid from the ghetto with the guy with cocaine.
You put the kid who had a taste for that shit early, and now the kid's depressed.
Yeah.
His dad's dead, and his life's kind of a little bit in turmoil. Yeah. You put him with the guy that does coke.
Unreal, man. So, I mean, I'm looking at this article, and it's him with his dad dead, and he's going back, and they're talking to him, and he's very sad. And I felt really bad for him, obviously, because I'm like, hey, that sucks. His dad's dead, and he's trying to do something, and he wanted to take his dad out of the whole thing. But then I'm reading this article, but then I got distracted. I got distracted by the ads, Jimmy. Yes. The sales.
I love the sales so much.
The sales.
In 1992?
Oh, yeah, 1990. October.
All right.
If you are in October of 1990 and you are in Spokane, Washington by any chance, you need to head down to the Green Thumb on East 16808 Sprague Avenue. You can get a Scott pellet stove. You know what that is?
No.
That is the best wood-burning stove you're going to goddamn find. The best one out there for only $1,599, which is a $300 savings.
Is that a deal?
Not too bad. It's a deal. It's a deal. Also, too, I could not take my eyes off the huge back-to-school sale down at Dick's Jewelry and Watch Repair.
All right.
Dick is laying down the sales. Yeah. Let me tell you something. It says watch sale with 2 exclamation points. That's a fucking
back
sale.
To school sale?
Back to school. It's a little late
Your kid
for that.
Needs a watch in October.
25 to 35% off everything at West 409 Main Street. Some great deals there. And then finally, this... Gentlemen, now ladies, you're going to want to go to this, but guys, you're going to want to go to this too because this is where all the ladies are going to be, all right? I'm telling you. October 3rd, that night, it's a Wednesday night, is ladies' night down at the Playfair horse racing track.
Get there, yes.
Ladies get in free admission, baby.
Every ladies' night is ladies get in free. What is that?
Post time is 5 o'clock. Regular ticket. You know how much money they're saving on an admission?
$7.
$2 is regular. The senior citizens for $1 and free parking for everybody, guys. Free parking.
Senior citizens $1, or on Wednesdays they get in free. I got it.
If you're a lady.
That's so terrible.
Pony up your buck, asshole. There's your pun. Pony up your buck at the horse track. Enjoy.
Post time.
So 19. So okay, I know the sales are exciting.
Christ.
It's tough. I get it. I was distracted. I was trying to get to Spokane in 1990, but I decided to come record instead tonight. I was going to buy a watch. Dick's Watch and Jewelry Repair was really getting me going. But so 1990, after his dad dies, Tommy buys his mom a house.
Okay.
He buys her a house out of the old neighborhood in a nice area called LaSalle. Much nicer.
Yeah.
Beautiful house. He buys her a nice house, totally different from where he grew up. Couldn't be more proud. Now he's really done it. He's got out of the shithole, went to college, graduated college with a marketing degree from the ghetto, from fighting and officers and dragging them behind cars and getting arrested as a kid and having all this shit happen to you. He has got out, made it huge enough to come home and say, Mom, you're moving out of this shithole house. I bought you a brand new one. Imagine how good he felt right there. That had to feel unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Like your first line of Coke. It's got to be unbelievable.
Just, eyes lighting up. You can hear crackling going on. And so Tommy, at this point too, he's getting really close with Tammy too. So he's
everything's coming together. I mean,
things are coming together. Minus his dad dying, which he wasn't around anyway.
Right.
Whatever. So he's flying Tammy back and forth from Seattle to Montreal on the weekends when she's off of work, and just having her come in and out. She even insists on paying for dinner when they go out half the time.
What?
That's what kind of girl this is.
What a girl.
She's not like, she wants him to know, like, I'm not after your fucking money. I like you. I'll pay for my own food.
I'm a banker. I got banker money.
And she doesn't even have a lot of money, but she's just like, she wants to show that she's not after anything.
I'm a banker. I got $14 an hour. I'm all right.
I feel like
I'm all right.
She knows that girls are after that with him, and she's not. She's not a gold digger. So this is good for him. He's finding a nice girl. He should settle down with this goddamn girl.
I got my own moose money.
Yes, exactly. I got my own money with pictures of kids playing hockey on it. So 1990. 16 games he plays. So he plays every game that season, which even if he's injured a little bit, not enough to make him miss a game. So good for you, Tommy. 11 games started.
Wow.
So now he's a starter for most of the time. 52 receptions, which is a damn fine year.
Yeah.
776 yards, 14.9 per reception. Very respectable.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns.
All right.
Now you're an NFL player.
You betcha.
You have earned your money now. And
Absolutely.
now the team's like, ooh, now we got something.
We're getting a return on this.
This is back when Steve Largent's retiring, and they're kind of turning the team over.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we can slide this guy right in.
Absolutely.
1991, plays in all 16 games again, so now he's even getting durable.
All right.
Starts 15 games this time.
2 seasons in a row.
Yep, starts 15 games, has 50 receptions for 763 yards and 15.3 per reception.
Not bad.
So that's a solid-ass year, man. That's 2 touchdowns, which, whatever. Dave Craig was the quarterback, and he just sucked. So,
is that number 1 receiver, you think, or is that number 2?
I think he's the number 2.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah. Well, then again, with Craig's terrible throwing, he might have been the number 1 receiver at that point. 1991, Tammy is pregnant.
Oh, boy.
She's pregnant. They're happy, though.
Yeah,
They're
he's
happy
celebrating those 700 yards.
Yeah, he is still messing around with other women like
You
crazy,
bet.
though, because she's still in Montreal.
Yeah.
So she comes back and forth, and all week he is just knee deep in, you know, in
Seattle poon.
I was going to say in some really sopping wet, moldy Seattle women. You know, they're all humid. Their clothes are damp. They smell like a basement, but they're there, and he's all over them.
Yeah.
I know you don't smell like basements in Seattle, but you got to smell a little musty. I'm sorry. Your clothes have to have some.
It's probably
residual.
why the majority of them are hipsters, because they already smell shitty anyway.
That's perfect. Exactly.
They already smell musty.
Yeah, he says he loves her a ton. He tells his teammates and everything he loves her, but he still cheats his ass off because he's a football player, and that's what they do. I mean, that's just the way it is. Tammy either ignores it or is unaware of it, basically. He's going out partying like crazy with the other guys, drinking women, the whole deal. Deval Glover, an ex-teammate of him, said, this makes perfect sense. He said, quote, he liked to be his own person, you know, do what he enjoyed doing. He liked being independent. Well, that's great.
Who the fuck doesn't?
You probably shouldn't get in a relationship then, would be my advice.
How about don't knock a girl up?
Don't impregnate a woman from your small town. That would be the perfect thing to do at that point.
Stop pretending like you give a shit about her, because you don't.
No, but he needs to control her, though, through this whole thing.
Of course.
It's the same thing with OJ.
Yep.
OJ was going out fucking everybody.
Yeah.
He had a girlfriend when he killed his wife. He had a girlfriend. Didn't matter. He wanted to control that one and that one and all of them.
All of them.
That's the thing. That's
Everyone
what he's like.
Blow me.
92, more injuries happen. This is when the ankle and
this ain't good.
The Achilles really start bothering him. He starts every game he plays. It's 11 games. Starts them all because now he's in the lineup. 27 receptions, 369 yards, 13.7 per catch. 3 touchdowns, a lot of injuries, very banged up.
Numbers are dwindling.
And he was slowed down on the field, too. He just wasn't the same athlete because his legs were damaged.
It hurts.
Yeah, and he's got concussions, too.
Right. It hurts, and I can't think straight.
Yeah, so we have an in their own words about this. Now, this is still, he doesn't care. He's so happy to be out of where he was.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm still doing well. This is basically it. He says, in their own words, quote, I was not only a bad kid growing up in Quebec, I was the worst kid. I was in knife fights. I once beat a guy silly with a baseball bat. I broke into houses, broke into cars, stole money. I was busted several times. The truth of the matter is that I'm sure I would have wound up behind bars or dead if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that in Canada, that's the worst kid.
Right.
You have to shoot 30 other students in America to be the worst kid. You have to wipe out your whole classroom to be the worst kid here. There, it's like, he got in a knife fight and he stole some shit. That's the worst
That's
kid.
hilarious.
So, Canada, you're so sweet up there.
You have to commit a horrible atrocity, including a school shooting, to be the worst kid.
Yeah, you have to be.
Outside of that,
and
we
even
have
then,
them.
there's competition.
Right.
You're like, he shot 10 kids, but that guy killed 12. I don't know. Let's look at it.
He goes to knife fights. Big fucking deal.
Yeah, does he have an AR-15?
Right.
No,
This kid shot his mom in her bed and then went to an elementary school and shot 60 kids.
Shot more kids.
Right.
Yeah, he's worse by far. Worst kid here in Canada.
Enjoy your knife fights, pussy.
Enjoy your knife fights, pal. Man, so 1993 goes to Seahawks training camp, and he has had surgery also, again, minor surgeries on his knee and on his Achilles, trying to patch him up, and he's just not athletically cutting it. And in 1993, in training camp, he is cut by the Seahawks.
Oh, shit.
He's devastated, as you may imagine.
He's got a baby on the way.
Not only that, it's his whole identity.
Yeah.
And he also, too, they say, and this is funny, he's never been cut from anything before.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's always been the best athlete. He's never been cut. All through school, if you're that good of an athlete, you're not going to get cut. You're the captain of the team.
This is the first time he's been rejected.
This is the first time he's been rejected by anything.
Yeah.
All the women love him.
Yeah.
Sports teams take him. The girl he liked from high school guy.
Right.
He's, this is the first time where he's like, oh, I've been told no. It's not good for his psyche.
I mean, the only other time he's been told no was by a police officer that said, no, you cannot go away. And he did it anyway.
No, you can't park here.
Right. With the Seattle Seahawks, you can't come into training camp and they go, no, you got to leave. And he's going, nope, I'll stay. That doesn't happen
that doesn't
here.
work. No, I'll just slam the coach's arm in the door and drive off. That doesn't work. The only no he had known is no parking. That's the only thing he had been aware of, no parking in his whole life.
And 19 times he told him to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, he didn't take that for an answer. You can't go fuck yourself out of this one. Out of being cut.
No parking.
But he's injured while so he's injured while he is actually injured, or he's cut while he's injured. Mm-hmm. So that is a thing where you can take the team to court for a settlement on part of your salary if they cut you while you're injured, because they're not technically allowed to do that. So he actually wins a decent settlement from the Seahawks that gets him through the 1993 year, and he's taking this year off to try to get healthy and make a comeback of some kind, shape, or form.
Still kind of keeping his brain together.
Yeah, he's still kind of got it together, at least enough wherewithal to sue.
I feel like, though, looking back on it from now, that was not his idea, to sue and then get healthy.
No,
and
the union did that for him.
The union
attorney
and an agent. And the agent said, look, get your ass in shape and we can get you back on another team. Because that agent wants a paycheck for getting him on a team.
Yeah, the agent probably said, don't sue because you're going to look like a dick later on. And
the union was like, no, we're suing.
We're suing,
first of all.
and you probably need the money, which he does. So, 94, he is signed by the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League. We know now. Normally, it's guys from here we've covered have washed out in the NFL, and they go, well, I could either play for Canada or the Raiders. Remember how many guys said that? Like 3 different guys said it's either Canada or the Raiders. I don't know. So he goes back to Canada, which for him is where he's from. That's a positive thing. But it's a downgrade for him. It's a huge hit to the ego.
$12,000 a year, too.
Yeah, he makes $65,000 a year as his annual salary, which is nowhere near what he was making in the NFL. Actually, his first year, what he thinks is going to be his first year, he donates his entire $65,000 salary to the West End Sports Center in Montreal, where he came up as a kid.
How well is he doing?
He said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the West End Sports Center, so I'm giving my whole salary to the West End Sports Center. That's nice. I don't know what he's thinking because he needs the fucking money.
Not only that, he's got a kid who needs the fucking money.
That's the thing. And how do you think Tammy felt about that? You're doing what now?
Listen, stop taking care of those kids. Take care of this kid.
Exactly. But apparently he still had some dough from the settlement, and hopefully maybe in 93 when he got cut, he said, I better save every dime I have from the settlement because who knows how long this is going to last.
We can bridge the gap with this shit, and then we'll get to next year and we'll be fine.
Totally. So in 5 games in Canada, he's cut after only 5 games.
No.
Only plays 5 games. He's banged up. He just doesn't have it. He can't cut it physically anymore. His body is not cooperating.
No, it's not there
doesn't have the same speed. He's just not the same guy. No explosion. He plays in 5 games, has 10 receptions for 125 yards, 12.5 per and 1 touchdown, which isn't terrible, but apparently they just didn't see anything.
There's no glimmer.
There's no, exactly. They don't go, ooh, there's something there. Right. I mean, it's Canada. You take what you can get. They took Dexter Manley, for Christ's sake. He couldn't even fucking read.
He played 3 seasons in the NFL where they beat the living piss out of you, and he was 5'11".
Well, he played 5 seasons. 5 seasons.
But there were 2 of them he was banged up quite a bit.
He played a little less than 2
so
of them.
So he played 3 that he actually worked hard.
He's got a lot of mileage on the tires at this point. A lot of miles on the tires. Now, after this, he's cut from Toronto, leaves there, Where do you think he's going to do now? What happens when in an athlete's life?
Where the fuck is Burgundy?
Thank you. We all know one of the crime and sports rules, just like the silver-haired middle-aged white man and everything else, is when things are going bad, at their worst, you do not go home.
And he grabbed a birch stick and threw that red checkered scarf on it and hitchhiked it right the fuck back to Burgundy.
Right back to Montreal, baby. It's not quite Burgundy, but it's Montreal. Mm-hmm. It's still the hometown. It's nowhere he knows. Is where he's got a bunch of friends and running idiots. And
where people can get coke.
Where people can get coke and where all the ladies love him and know him, and he's still a big deal. Right. So that's why he gets involved. At first, it's kind of positive. He gets involved in the sports center, in the West End Sports Center. Right. He coaches all the sports, coaches everything they have to coach. Mm-hmm. He's all over it. The kids love him, as you can imagine.
Everything.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, he's the most famous guy to ever come out of the neighborhood. The kids love him.
Absolutely.
They're like, oh my God.
He's a hero.
Yeah, he's in the NFL. He's in the NFL. Right. You don't know a lot of people in the NFL here. In Canada, there's even less. So, I mean, think about it that way. Look at it that way. So he gets involved there. Like I said, Tamara has moved up. Old Tammy is a bank manager now. Mm-hmm. She's doing better for herself.
See?
Moved up from teller. She is actually making the family money.
Of course she is.
Because he is volunteering, and he doesn't. That's all he's doing is volunteering, which is great, but it's not.
Doesn't pay the
job.
bills.
Yeah.
Right.
He's trying to get his life together, basically. Right. He's trying to just figure out what the fuck to do with himself.
Did you know Tommy played in the NFL? That phrase does not pay your mortgage.
No.
He's got to stop that bullshit.
It gets your respect from 12-year-olds who want to play some pickup basketball, but it doesn't. They don't take that shit down at the bank, even if she's the manager. So 1996, late 95, 96, he becomes a radio commentator. Here we go. For the Canadian Football League Montreal Alouettes. So that is a terrible name for a team. The Montreal Alouettes.
I don't even know what that.
That's not even
French.
It's Canada. They had two teams named the Rough Riders for years. There's fucking 8 teams in the whole league, and 2 of them were named the Rough Riders.
What is an Alouette?
I have no idea. Something French, I would imagine. He's let go after 1 season of commentating. So apparently he wasn't real good at that, apparently, or they wanted to go a different way, or they needed someone who spoke French. I'm not fucking sure.
They let that contract expire and were like, once this shit's over, we'll find somebody else. Who? I don't care.
Anybody. Yeah, we'll get him. Now, through his football connections in the next year and his marketing degree, as we remember, he's actually a college graduate.
Right.
He lands a job at Universal Studios in Orlando doing some marketing work for them.
Oh, shit.
Makes a bunch of money.
I thought you were about to say as a tour guide.
As a tour guide. As a stunt man. They're going to fire him out of cannons and shit during the show.
He's going to point at the DeLorean and be like, they used that in a fucking movie.
No. This is a great job.
Okay.
Like, it's a high-paying, really good job, respectable, and he moves down to Orlando, and he's got to fly home here and there to see Tammy because she stays in Montreal because she's got a job as a bank manager, and she doesn't trust that this fucking guy won't blow it. So she can't quit her job. She's got to keep her shit together because who knows. Now, after a few months, they're struggling financially a little bit, and he quits. He doesn't want to do it anymore.
He's just done marketing.
Home. He's depressed down there.
Yeah, it's not the fucking NFL.
Yeah, he's depressed. It's a 9-to-5 job type of thing. It's a suit and tie kind of a thing, and he's away from Tammy. He's away from everything. He's away from his friends. He's sitting down there in Orlando. The coke might be hard to come by if you don't know anybody. I don't know. Who knows? He's having a tough time. So, like I said, they move back after a few months. They're struggling financially, and they have to move into Tammy's mother's house.
Oh, no.
So now he's gone all the way back down.
Oh, my God.
So now he's living with his mother-in-law, basically.
That's the worst.
That's the worst thing that could happen to you.
NFL player.
Yeah, 4 years before that, he's as independent as can be.
Yeah.
He can pay for things. He can fly people places. He can do things. He feels like he's a big man, and now he's living in his mother-in-law's guest room.
That has got to be the most humbling fucking experience in the world.
It really must be.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I don't know how he didn't kill himself right there. But he persevered through this.
I cannot do marketing. Yeah. I fucking hate that I got this degree, and now I'm living in my mother-in-law's house.
Kill me now.
Lay in a bathtub and open a vein for sure.
It's
That's
horrible.
It.
But 97, he's plugging along. He's really trying to get into the family aspect of it. He's trying. They get engaged. They get engaged in 97.
As if that's going to be what fills that void of a screaming stadium.
Ego. Yeah. Well, I'll have some kids and they'll look at me.
At least somebody will give a shit about me.
Exactly. So they get engaged in 97. They plan to marry that summer. So now I don't know if I can't find Canadian marriage records, but apparently They say they got married, but then later on in an article, she's referred to as his common law wife. So I don't know if they actually got married or if
they just stayed together long enough to call it that.
I think they got married. I was told she had a ring. So why would you give a ring if you weren't going to just do it? I don't know. Whatever. Things are going well, though. They move into their own home.
All right.
Things are turning around for them. You know, as a family, they're trying to get back on their feet. 1998, they have a second son. So now this is 2 kids. The first one, she was pregnant in 91. They had a son. So now they have 2 sons, okay? 98. 99, they have a third son.
Oh, no.
Stop shitting kids out now, Tommy. Let's cut this shit out.
Stop it.
Let's snip up those pipes,
No
Tommy
doubt.
boy, and, something.
I mean, congratulations on not knocking up all the other women you were banging
3's
on.
enough for you, buddy, because you have problems, and let's not get any more.
At least they're all with the same woman. That's all I'm saying.
That is. No,
Good
he's
for
having
him.
them with the same girl. That's for an NFL player. That's top notch.
That's fucking amazing.
2000, they have a 4th child.
Oh, God, no.
It's a daughter this time, too, so you want to have her in the picture.
So
that
now
he
you
can
got a
mess
wedding
her
to
up.
pay for eventually.
Well, yeah, and also, too, you can mess her up psychologically and really make her view of the world and men in it really skewed and messed up because you're a jackass.
Right.
So good job. Thanks, asshole. 2000 that was. So now there's a 17-year-old girl going to be 18 in a month, going to be unleashed with this horrible father. So good luck, everybody. Dean Smith, the college teammate that the old friend that we talked about, said, quote, they probably planned on having kids, but I don't think he planned on having that many kids. I don't think he was financially ready for 4.
Yeah.
No shit. Who the fuck is financially ready for 4 kids?
That's the guy that doesn't have 4 kids, and he has probably 2, and he's like, fuck 4.
That shit's expensive. No, I don't think so. Yeah, 4 kids, you have to be a psychopath.
I've got 2. I don't want 4.
4? Double that payment up. You have to be an NFL player to have 4 kids and take care of them in a decent fashion.
I can barely keep track of 2. How do you keep track of 4 kids?
Never mind, they're right 3 or right in a row. Boom, 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 boom. The other one's like 5 years older, and then they have them 1, 2, and 3 years old. Like, holy shit. Friends noticed his stress and frustration was growing immensely.
Oh, I'm sure.
With not only the family, and he's not sure he wants to have 4 kids, but on top of that, he's money, too. It's financial problems.
Yeah.
He can't get a good job. He can't keep a good job. He can't find his way. It's 2000 now. 2000, he hasn't had... he hasn't played football in 6 years.
Not just that, he hates the field that he would have to go into as his fallback.
It's not even that he hates the field. He just hates that it's not football.
Right.
He hates that it's not what he
There's no glory
had. There's no glory.
Right.
There's nobody's looking up to him.
Right.
It's just, I go to work, I come home, I sit in traffic like every other. It's like Ray Liotta at the end of Goodfellas. Here I am to live the rest of my life like a schnook.
Right.
And he's standing there. I get spaghetti and I get egg noodles and ketchup. It's that. That's what he's doing. Like, I got egg noodles and ketchup. This is bullshit.
Hilarious.
It's exactly what it is. Finance is super tough. He is extremely depressed at this point. It gets bad. He takes a job in early 2001 as a sports marketing manager for a nutritional supplement distributor.
Ugh.
And he fucking hates it.
Yeah.
He's miserable, as I would be in
selling
that
No
job
Explode
too.
or some shit.
That's terrible.
He's got to sit at a fucking sweaty, stinky gym and sell
terrible
B-complex to these muscleheads.
And
that sounds like a terrible job.
It does it, I think, to stores and that sort of shit, and probably gyms also.
Yeah.
But it's a 9 to 5. He's got to get up. He's got to, fight the rush hour. He's got to put a tie on. He's got to do the whole thing.
There's no podcast to keep you fucking occupied.
Nothing. No crime in sports.
No.
None. He's got
nothing.
He cannot listen to this at all back then. It's only 2001. Podcasts have not been invented.
No.
People are wandering around flicking through radio stations like fucking cavemen. No, you guys are smarter. Thank you. So Tommy is hanging around the old neighborhood now. Not just there. He's actually going out and hanging around the neighborhood with old friends and people who've been in and out of prison.
Leaning on a brownstone in the afternoon and just sitting there waiting.
Yep, and not only that, you could see him with a paper bag, with a beer with a paper bag. He starts using cocaine again.
God.
This is when he gets into cocaine. And he likes his cocaine now because he's, I don't know, just feeling shitty about himself. He starts to party really hard right now. Again, don't go home. Don't go. If things are bad, get the fuck as far away from your hometown as possible. I know you want to go there because your family's there and you're comfortable.
Right.
Bullshit. Run.
That's the problem, is that it's comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Go somewhere that's uncomfortable.
Run away.
Right.
Run as far as you can.
Yeah.
Dean Smith, his buddy here, on his drug use, said, quote, he was getting high a little bit, and I said to him, I think you're getting high too much. You should stop doing that. And he told me, why are you always telling me how to live my life? He's not even listening to his friends now. This isn't even Tammy being like, stop doing coke. This is his friend like, man, you're getting high too much. And he's like, man, fuck you. Tell me how to live my life.
I got 4 kids at home. Fuck
I
you.
got 4 kids. Yeah, he's singing Billy Joel songs to him. It's fucking terrible. Now, family and friends can't believe he's devolved this far. Yeah. They're like, he was their hero. He was the person that you would tell your kid, if you work hard, you can grow up and get out of the neighborhood and be that guy.
Right.
And instead, now it's like you can be that guy now. You don't have to do shit. Right. You just have to grow up and do coke on the corner, and you're that guy. Congratulations. So it's not as good as it used to be for him. They're sad for Tommy. They can't believe it's Tommy, basically. All of them are like, I didn't even believe it was him anymore.
It's so sad.
It's insanely sad. 2001, they're fighting, Tammy and Tommy. Yeah. Tammy and Tommy.
Oh, that's crazy, too. I didn't even notice that.
I wrote it. When I noticed it when I was writing shit, I'm like, is that Tammy or Tommy? When I wrote something once, I'm like, I better write Tamara, and then I'll write, yeah. So anyway, Tammy and Tommy, they're mad. She's mad at him because of his partying. Yeah. He's out all hours of the night. Yeah. She can smell booze and knows he's doing drugs, and she can smell, strip club on him, that sort of thing.
It's a bummer that's called partying, though, because he's not partying. He's coping. Fun. That's what that is.
He's coming home high with glitter on his forehead.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's him forgetting.
I wasn't at the strip club. She's mad that the kids are seeing him yell at her, too, because she's confronting him, and he's telling her to go fuck herself and walking away. So the kids are seeing this. She's also sad that he's acting like this in front of them, and the kids are seeing him high and everything else. He's doing exactly what his father did.
Right.
Exactly, because this is what fucking kids do.
Right.
Stay with your goddamn kids and don't beat the shit out of them.
It's imprinted forever.
Stay with them. Don't beat them. Don't molest them. That's it.
Pretty easy.
If you have to get divorced, keep up with the fucking kids. Right. Go talk to them. Pick them up a couple times a week. Hang out with them. Still be a parent. Shit like that. Basics.
Go to a park. Throw a football. Fly a kite.
Something.
It's easy.
They agree to separate in late 2001. They said, let's break up for a minute and let's see if we can work this out. And they're still talking about working it out. Okay. Tommy, at this point, gets his own condo. I don't know how the fuck he did that.
Fascinating.
I'm not sure how he got his own condo, but he had his own condo. And this just means now there's no Tammy there to bitch at him.
Yeah.
And the way he's looking at it, he's like, well, she's not here bitching at me. I'll go out all night. I'll hang out. I'll drink. I'll do coke right off the coffee table. All good.
Free range Tommy.
Good. Woohoo. Free range Tommy. He is doing it. Drinking drugs. Quits his job. Stops volunteering.
What do I need to do any of that for?
No, fuck that. I got my own place. Do blow. Who cares? I'm telling you, he quits his job. He stops even volunteering. So he's just, pulling himself back. That's it. He's just,
it's like an 18-year-old that got out of his parents' house and is just like, fuck it. I'm doing everything I want.
I'm going to flunk out of college in a month and a half. Yeah. And then they go out, and next thing you know, they're back home. Tamara, at this point, she gets sick of waiting for him, and she moves on with her life. Some of his friends say, I'd see her out in the club, and she'd dance with guys, and she was, not every night or anything, but she'd go out and have a good time.
Enjoying herself.
She's looking to date other people. She's just looking to move on with her life. Yeah. She's been with this guy for over 10 years, and he's been a fucking disaster.
Right.
And then she's had 4 kids with him. I think she has really put up with a shitload and earned her right to go try to get a life of her own at this point.
Go shake your ass, Tammy. You deserve it.
Go out there. Have a girl's night. Do your thing. So she's doing that. He gets angry when he finds out from his friends and from people that she's seeing other people. He's like, no, fuck that. I got to get her back now.
What the fuck?
But he doesn't stop doing drugs and turn his life around. No. He just gets angry and starts stalking her. That's how he's going to get her back. Not by actually doing things that would make her attracted to him, which is... He's a bright one, this guy.
48 hours and Dateline and Snapped. If any of those are anything to prove, this doesn't work, Tommy.
No,
this is not the way you get him back.
This is not the way you get him back. You really have to go about it a little more of a sensitive way. Yeah. Like I said, say, what do they like?
Right.
Maybe she wants me to have a job. I'll go get one of those. That'd be good. Hey, maybe I'll stop doing coke. This is great. I'll act like I care about the kids. I'll stop fucking whores. Perfect. This is terrific.
Send her some Pro Flowers and fucking send it over the edge.
That's right.
Your girl.
Pro Flowers. Yes, it's proflowers.com. Enter the code CIS at checkout. Get you $10 off your first order of $29 or more. Okay. We didn't get paid for that one either. That's a freebie, Pro Flowers.
Take that one.
Never fucking say we didn't do anything for you. So anyway, they're doing their whole thing. He's stalking her. She does not want him back. No. She's just like, I don't want this crazy stalker asshole who's not doing anything I want. I found nice people.
Yeah.
He shows up at her house unannounced.
Oh, no.
Shows up at all hours of the night. And shows up at 1 in the morning.
And he can use the excuse of, I'm here to see my kids. That's shitty.
He's not even doing that, though.
Really?
He's calling her at 1 in the morning and being like, who are you with right now?
Wow.
You with somebody? And she's like, what the fuck do you care?
I'm with your 4 kids, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing, though. He's just like sitting outside of her house calling her and doing crazy shit like that. Cocaine use escalates.
Of course.
He's just doing as much cocaine as he can get his hands on. I'm telling you now. His friend Deval Glover, who we've discussed before, ex-teammate, said, quote, "You knew that he wasn't in a good frame of mind, that things were just not working as planned, and he just couldn't find his way, and he wasn't happy." That's true as shit, because it's even more cocaine, more alcohol. Friends start to hear that he's suicidal.
Oh, shit.
Now, too, they're starting to talk and say, hey, Tommy's threatening shit. And, we need to keep an eye on Tommy. He's doing a lot of drugs.
He's getting mentally unhinged.
Yeah. So Dean Smith, this friend here, said about him, and this is insight because he knows the guy, and this is perfect. He said, quote, "My wife is leaving me. I'm an ex-NFL guy. She's leaving me. She can't leave me. He's got no job, no money coming in, concussions on top of that, the dope on top of that. You take that with no work. You take that with doing drugs. You take that with depression. You got a problem." That's like TNT explosives right there in my mind. I mean, that's the fucking smartest guy in this whole story so far. He's like, look, you add this shit up, I'm yakking off. This is dangerous. Smart.
You can tell that to any psychiatrist, and they'll be like, we need to get him help now.
Yeah,
right now.
That's what I mean. And he's not even a psychiatrist. This guy is an idiot, honestly, when you hear him talk. But he's smart. He sees things. I like this guy. October 2003. This is when things are really deteriorating. His friends are super worried about the suicidal thing here. Bad stuff. His drug use is absolutely just out of control.
Yeah.
Plateau of to the moon here. Yeah. He checks himself into a mental hospital.
Good.
Through a doctor, too.
Smartest thing he's done so far.
Exactly. This is good. Maybe he'll get some help. Maybe this is good for him. It's not going to get... See, he was just, what can I do to get Tammy back? Rather than how can I fix myself? And then I'll worry about anybody else and Tammy and everybody else once I'm not a disaster.
That's what happens with these psychotic people, though. They think that they can just fucking blanket that person that they want with affection, and they don't realize that's not how it's done. You go work on you, man. Go fix you.
And this...
Because no matter what relationship you're in, it's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be right. And you're going to fuck that up, and you're going to murder somebody.
Absolutely. And this is the same exact thing as OJ.
Yeah.
OJ didn't give a shit about Nicole, and he wanted to go fuck who he wanted to fuck. But then when he found out she was with somebody, there's a recording of him yelling and screaming where he actually stood outside and watched her fuck her boyfriend. OJ did.
Really?
Watched Nicole and her boyfriend go at it. And then he was yelling at her about it the next day. You weren't saying that when you were sucking his dick with the kids in the house. What about that shit? And it's OJ being like,
OJ.
It's when he gets mad, he gets black. It's fucking funny. He does. He's like, listen, hurts. You got to get a rent-a-car. And then when he gets mad, he's like, motherfucker, I said, come here. And it's like, whoa, hey, what happened? I will kick a goddamn door down. But that's the same thing. Like, he can't take. Yeah. He doesn't matter if he doesn't want her. He needs her to be his.
To want
it's
him.
Just under the thumb, man. It's
a manipulation thing.
Narcissistic sociopath bullshit.
You bet.
So he stays in the mental hospital for 5 weeks.
Wow.
That's a long stay.
Yeah.
That's not a 72-hour check you out. We got to do some work and break you down.
That's a lot of pudding eating.
Yeah, that's a lot of pudding. His sister said he looked broken. He just looked broken.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
And he did. He was sitting there. He said he was miserable, and he felt like a piece of shit, as I can imagine. He's probably sitting there in a robe with no back to it, and he's like, this is miserable.
And he checked himself in, so he could leave at any time, and he just he knew that. 5 weeks was...
Yeah, he wasn't committed. Right. This was like he agreed to do it through a doctor. Now, after 5 weeks, he's released from the psych ward. Tommy moves in with his mother now. Mm-hmm. Now he's gone all the way back to living with his mom, which he has to feel utterly like a piece of shit. It's the house he bought.
Right, that's
his house.
Say. At least it's a nice place.
And it's his house. It's in his name. I mean, he bought it, but he should have put it in her name, as we're going to find out. But he buys her the house, or he's living in the house, and the mother is like begging him because he's just around the house drinking and just being a fucking mess of a human being, doing drugs. She's telling him that you got to stop doing drugs. He's yelling the drugs aren't my fucking problem. That's not the problem. I just got to figure out how to get Tammy back. She's fucking lying to me. He said that he would wander around the house and wander around the streets, babbling to himself. Just saying she's lying to me, I'm going to kill myself, shit like that.
That's
babbling.
Some horribly psychotic behavior.
Yes.
You see those people on the street and you cross to the other side to get the fuck away from them.
The mother is concerned about his drug use because he is using about 2 grams of coke a day, which is a fucking lot of coke. Yeah. That's a lot of fucking coke, and huge for a guy with no money. And he's on this coke.
That's what I was going to say. How the fuck is he getting money for this?
No idea. He's on this coke. He's wandering around the streets babbling to himself, just probably going in, whatever storefront he can find. And goes in one. He's like, that smells good. What's that? It's the shawarma man. And he says... how is it you've come to arrive here? Why are you here? Why you come in my store? You wander, you talk to you. Don't talk to yourself. You scare everyone.
Who the hell is Tammy?
You scare employee. I don't know no Tammy. Why? You knows you got stuff all over. Signs say closed. Go, you go. No shawarma for you. No shawarma. No, you want? I make for you. You want lamb? I carve little bits for you. It's okay. It's okay. Go. Hey, stop doing the drug. You go now. You go. And he leaves. But he was the shawarma man for one day. He made him better. He gave him some shawarma. He gave him some tough love. Yeah. And he had a good day that day. A little
bit of love in his soul for a second.
He had a great day that day. He was like, you know what? Somebody cares about me. And it's the shawarma man. So they start to plan an intervention.
Here, you signed the Seattle Seahawks helmet.
You sign. I have jersey. You sign for me. Yes, I know Dave Craig, not you, but you sign anyway. I have Russell Wilson jersey. I don't care if you not know him. It doesn't matter. You sign
my number 12.
You sign 12. You sign. I am 12th man. See? I make shawarma for whole team. Hey. Anyway, so Mother Shirley starts setting up an intervention for Tommy. She's trying to, all right, let's get an intervention going. Let's try to nip this shit in the bud here.
Yeah.
But none of his crew will really be involved. So the only people that she can get a hold of, she tries to get a hold of Tammy. She's like, the only person he's going to listen to is Tammy, basically. Yeah. If Tammy says, look, you need to do this, she's thinking maybe, because she's obsessed with Tammy, maybe this will get him.
Last-ditch effort.
Yeah. Let's try to save him. So they schedule, Tammy agrees to attend.
Wow.
She agrees to attend. She says she's going to bring one of the people from church with her, the church that he goes to, and it's like a respected church woman that works at the church. She's going to bring her along if maybe that would make it a little more concrete and embarrass him into doing it something.
Bring some kids too, goddammit.
Yeah, well, you don't want the kids in the middle of an intervention because that can get ugly and you're going to be
adults, aren't they?
No, Jesus, these kids are 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. They're young.
Right.
So the one kid, I think, is 10, the oldest one. You still don't want them involved, Jesus. So they set the intervention date for November 30th, 2003.
Okay.
This is when they're going to do it. Like I said, Tommy now at this point is using more coke than he ever had. The week leading up to this, he's like out of control in like a psychosis, basically doing so much coke.
Raccoon circles around his eyes.
Stanley Wilson pre-Super Bowl level cocaine use at this point. Former teammate Don McPherson, who was second in the Heisman Trophy voting to Tim Brown there, as we discussed before, the old Syracuse quarterback, he says of him, quote, "The Tommy Kane I knew is gone. The football player, that friend, he's gone. And there's a different man here. Personally, I don't know how to look at it. That was about the Tommy Kane that I played with in college, and that's not him."
Wow.
So that's sad. He's like, I don't even know that fucking guy. Basically, he turned into he was an upstanding dude that was dependable, and now he's a complete piece of shit.
The worst he had was 19 parking tickets.
Yeah, which is kind of funny almost, except for dragging the police officer. If he didn't do any of that, it would have been like, those teammates would have been like, you fucking idiot, you got 19 parking tickets. They'd have made fun of him.
They never showed up.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just didn't pay them. They didn't show up. It's crazy.
So day of the intervention, it's November 30th, 2003. Tamara brings Hilda St. Louis is her name, a woman from church.
That's a great name.
Hilda St. Louis. Sounds like the worst porn star ever.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like Hilda St. Louis. And she's like, ooh, she's in like the hairy section. Yeah. It's not good. Like, that's ugly.
In the stretch mark section, the granny porn area.
Bad shit. Hilda St. Louis. Ugly.
But she gangbanged 320 people.
Good
it was
for
great.
her. Good for you, Hilda. You make a star out of yourself. You do it. You get out of Little Burgundy every way you can. So she's a church lady.
You ever seen one of those? Oh, the gangbang porns.
No,
it's
I'm
so
not
creepy.
Into that. It's like animals feasting. I can't watch it.
It's hilarious because the guy's got to stand there just tugging away,
waiting.
And then
That's
obviously
terrible.
She's dry, so they just come up and just glop a dollop of fucking lube, and they just bang away until they blast. It's hilarious.
Very romantic.
It's
sounds.
so
it's
funny.
Very romantic and terrible.
And she just.
Who wants to watch a video where neither person is enjoying themselves? It's not even like one person's enjoying.
Right.
Both of them are like, this is miserable. Is someone getting off on that? Like, oh yeah. You make a face like it hurts, and then you make a face like you don't like it. Yeah, do that. Perfect.
You make a face like it hurts, and you make a face like you can't believe that you're in a place where 225 guys already can't.
Yeah. You act like you didn't just jerk off in line with 200 other guys for the last 15 minutes. You just do that, okay? Can you do that?
How do people beat off to that? I watched it to laugh at it. I swear.
That's great. So this isn't so funny, unfortunately. Right. Hilda St. Louis and Tammy come over to Shirley's house, the mom, to intervene with Tommy. He doesn't obviously know this is happening. That's an intervention. Tommy is enraged when they show up.
Really?
Fucking enraged.
You can't believe it.
That at her insistence. And Tammy's trying to be cool. She's like, look, you have a problem and we need to help you and you're a good guy and, you know, people love you and your kids love you and blah, 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 blah. He's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
He grabs her by the arm and drags her into the kitchen. Okay? So
got to get her away from Hilda St. Louis.
Yeah, so Hilda and Shirley are in the living room while they drag into the kitchen and they think, well, maybe Tammy can talk some sense into him. And
they're just going to have a chat.
Yes, until a moment later when they hear Tammy screaming bloody murder in there. And so they're like, oh, shit. They run in here in the kitchen to find Tommy beating her senseless.
Oh, my God.
With his fists, beating her in the face and you know, face and head, and dragging her by the hair around the kitchen and bouncing her head off the tile floor.
Oh, shit.
Smashing her head on the tile floor. This is the mother of his 4 kids. Nice fucking guy. So Hilda runs over, the church lady, to try to stop this. As she's running over, he grabs a knife off the counter, a large kitchen knife, and goes to stab Tammy, where Hilda jumps on him and jumps on his arm. And she's lucky she didn't get cut. This lady's brave. Hilda's brave. She's braver than any gangbang porn star. I mean, that's rough, but this is even more rugged. Yeah. None of those guys have knives. Giant cocks maybe, but not knives. So she comes over. She actually wrestles the knife out of his hand.
Wow,
which is amazing. And it's funny too because he must have had some sort of different. Like he didn't hit her. He didn't He treated her better than the cop did when he tried to get her out of the car. Yeah. He actually let her take the knife as she peeled it out of his hand, which is insane. I can't believe she got the knife away from him. That's amazing. But problem is, with fucking knife blocks are a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Knife blocks are a bad idea. You need one knife. You don't know if your husband, if your wife is crazy. Have one knife in the house, and you decide who's going to be the guy to cut the meat.
There are so many murder weapons just sitting right there.
Apparently, she takes that. He, without missing a beat, grabs another knife.
Oh my God.
Out of the block and starts repeatedly stabbing her in the throat.
Oh my God.
Stabs Tammy in the throat.
In front of the church lady.
In front of and his own mother.
Oh my God.
And his own mother and the church lady look on horrified, screaming as they try to stop him and beg him to stop, and he doesn't stop. He keeps hacking away at her.
Holy shit.
She's bleeding out on the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
He goes and walks away. Hilda comes over and comforts her basically until the paramedics get there, which is sad as can be. She dies in the hospital.
Oh,
she's dead on arrival at the hospital, which depressing as can be. Tamara's sister takes custody of the kids. Yeah. Tammy's sister, because where the hell else are they going to go? Right. So 2 days later, next day on December 1st, 2003, Kane is charged with second-degree murder, obviously. Yeah. He pleads not guilty, because it couldn't have been premeditated because he didn't know she was coming. Right. So it's second-degree murder. While he pleads, they have him all shackled and everything. Yeah. Does not look like he's in good shape, obviously, in the head or anywhere else. His sister, Karen Desmond, said, quote, both our families are grieving and we'll have to wait for the outcome of everything. So it's just a mess. It's just a fucking mess. We've had... he came from nowhere. He did great. Now we have 4 kids with no mother. We have all these kids in the neighborhood, too, who have no one to look up to. No hero.
And those kids are going to lose their dad, too.
That's what I mean. The kids are going to lose both their parents. Right. No hero. Washed out. Fucking Seattle didn't get what they needed out of him. Toronto sure as hell didn't get anything. The Alouettes got a shit announcer that didn't work out. He left the Orlando Universal Studios people completely on the hook.
A drug dealer doesn't have their fucking customer anymore.
I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. I feel so bad for all these people, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Thomas Kane, an engineer at EBL Engineers LLC in Silver Springs, Maryland.
Oh, he's got a good life.
Yeah, Thomas Kane, an experienced mediator at a law practice at Mediation Services of Central Florida, Inc. in Orlando, Florida.
Tommy could have used him.
Doing well. Yeah, mediation would have been big.
Yeah.
Thomas Kane, managing director at Chatsworth Securities LLC in New York City.
Great.
Yeah. Thomas Kane, VP of Global Sales at Veertech Vision International, Inc. in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
That's a great fucking business card from Canada.
Okay, he's in Ontario, this poor bastard. He's got to really go. You search Thomas Kane, Canada, that's who you're getting.
Shows up.
You're getting him and a murderer.
Yeah.
Thomas Kane, former art director for advertising that is currently a really, really world-renowned artist that does really cool illusions. Look up Tommy Kane artist. He comes up a lot. Also, too, Tommy Kane, some high school basketball player that went to Tappan Zee High School in Orangeburg, New York. He graduated in 2005. I feel bad for him. He was 5'10" and he played forward. What the fuck are you thinking? What do you think? You can't be a 5'10" forward. That's all white kids playing that.
That's not even a small forward.
That's a disaster. So
at fucking in rec league, that's a shooting guard.
So he's too tiny to be a forward, and he's got the name of a shitty murderer. Right. So that's terrible. Good for him. So July 2004, it's a preliminary hearing in Quebec court. Quebec Court Justice Joseph Tarasovsky rules that there is enough evidence to warrant a trial for murder. Obviously, because two people watched him fucking do it. Tommy's mom testifies. She has to testify against him, which she has to. I mean, what's she going to do?
So terrible, though.
She testified that he repeatedly punched Tammy. She said, quote, Tammy was laying down by the fridge. Tommy was bending down on his knees on top of her, and he was just hitting and punching her. Which is just horrific. And you can't, as a mother, I don't know how you'd want to go over and stab him yourself.
This is terrible.
Asshole. This is the worst. This is so bad. On the killing, Dean Smith, his friend, said, quote, he said, what if my kids never want to speak to me again? Yeah. That's what he said to me. I said to him, that's too late now. You should have thought of that before. I said, you got to live with that, Holmes. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Fucking, yeah. Dean Smith is the smartest guy. Yeah, you got to live with that, Holmes. Yeah, he called him Holmes. Dean Smith is the smartest fucking guy in the story.
No doubt.
Him and Tammy are the two people who have brains in their heads in this whole story. And the other guys, too, I guess. The other players that weren't, in jail for killing their wives. September 8th, 2004, it's a court date to enter his official plea. Because he pled not guilty in the original, and now they get all the charges all, settled.
Right.
Like a minor who sifted out all the shit. Both the prosecution and the defense, both of the psychiatrists are in agreement on Tommy. They both say that Tommy suffered from such severe depression at the time that he was not fully responsible for what he did. Okay? Tommy, with this, the prosecution comes to him with this information because that's their psychiatrist saying that's not going to be great in court. So they go to him with a deal. And he pleads guilty that day. Surprisingly, everyone just showed up in court as a formality to do not guilty, and he pleads guilty to manslaughter.
Really?
Pleads guilty to manslaughter. Prosecutor Lou, now it looks like Bout Hillier, but I'm going to go with Bouhillier, probably. Bouhillier. Fucking Louis Bouhillier in France here and in Quebec said, quote, we did not have proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Tommy Kane intended the death of his wife.
And he said that with an amazing suit on.
And he said that looking impeccable in a tailored suit. So they said, because murder needs intent to kill. Yeah. They're saying if he didn't know what he was doing, he could have not have intended to do anything, which I'd say if you beat someone and stab them in the throat repeatedly,
worse off.
Pretty fucking good intention.
If you beat somebody, grab a knife, it gets wrestled out of your hand, and you go back for another one. And he meant to kill her.
While your mother screams, Tommy, no, don't. Tommy, no. Right. Like, good Lord. It's not even a stranger. Your mother is screaming at you. This is bad. There are protests all over Montreal about this. People are fucking pissed. Women's groups are pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Domestic violence advocates are pissed.
I thought you were saying that people were like,
no, they're pissed.
Don't put him away.
No, they want murder. They don't want any of this manslaughter shit. They want him going away for 30 years or something. So in an interview, Ava Shake, the sister who has been keeping track, who's been watching the kids and raising them, Tammy's sister, who's a great lady for doing this. Yeah. She said, quote, I'm very disappointed. Someone can beat somebody to a pulp and then slash their throat and it's considered involuntary. These kids have a life sentence. They lost their mother, but he doesn't. So, he doesn't have a life sentence, but the kids do, is what she's saying.
She's not wrong either.
Not wrong. I can't argue with this woman's logic.
And she's got at least a 15, 16-year sentence to take. I mean, hate to say it like that because she's taking care of kids, taking care of her nieces and nephews, but
she's still going to do
that's a huge responsibility.
And they're damaged kids who don't have their parents. It's tough. Right. That's a lot. I don't even mean damaged like you shouldn't take care of them. I mean damaged like they need help.
They were just told that their mom's never coming home.
Or their dad's going to be away a lot. Like they need therapy. They need help. They're going to be difficult kids.
They already knew that dad one day wouldn't be coming home.
Probably, yeah. I assume the mother sat them down and go, look.
Dad's a little fucked up.
So October 5th, 2004 is a sentencing hearing. Okay, this is when they're all going to plead their case. Tommy cries in court here. He's in a bad place. He says that he didn't remember dragging her by the hair or banging her head or stabbing her, and that he was just desperate to save his struggling marriage. That's what he says.
So you stab it?
So you stab it. And here's his, in their own words on this. This is him in court pleading for his life. In their own words, he turns and says this to Tammy's family, by the way. In their own words, quote, please forgive me. I know you guys hate me, but I'm sorry. I would have never hurt Tammy. Never. Tammy was the sweetest person. I was going downhill. I couldn't do anything but put my face in a bucket of cocaine until my heart stopped, but it wouldn't stop. So he's trying to they have no sympathy for you because their sister's dead and their daughter's dead. And
You never would have hurt her, but you did, bro.
You actually killed her.
You stabbed her in the neck repeatedly.
That'll do it.
That
hurts.
Spot. Yeah,
that's
it's
the spot.
There and the chest.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, that's generally where there's no fucking coming back from that.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ. October 4th, so they do this. This is the whole thing. The sentencing hearing will be on November the 5th, will be the actual sentencing of everything. November 5th, 2004, the judge, Justice Fraser Martin, who's a Superior Court justice up there, gives a 30-minute speech to Tommy before the sentencing.
Shit.
He laid the fuck into Tommy, boy.
Can you imagine getting 30 minutes of you shouldn't have killed that girl?
Wow, of a tongue. Not just that, it's a tongue lasher. This is what's great about being a judge.
Yeah.
Like this is someone who killed their wife, so you really get to say some shit. I would see this. I can't imagine how great it would feel to do this with someone who killed somebody. Right. I would do this to people in traffic. When I go to a fast food place and they put my napkins on top of my French fries so they get all fucking greasy and useless as a napkin, I want to rip that motherfucker. Has made them soggy because it can't get out because the ketchup's trapping it. Fuck, I've thought about this a lot. Okay, moving on.
And now that ketchup's all hot.
It's all hot.
That's disgusting.
It's shitty. It's terrible. The fries are soggy and the ketchup's hot. What the fuck am I supposed to do that? Oh, they're all soggy. I want to wipe my hands. Oh, wait, napkins full of grease. Fuck me. Never mind. I'm going to kill this son of a bitch in the window. That's what I feel. But he instead has a real reason to be mad at someone. This judge, Fraser Martin, says, quote, he calls him manipulative, narcissistic, and says it was a senseless act by an estranged husband. And then he says, quote, by your act, Mr. Kane, 4 children are deprived of their mother. The circumstances of the homicide were particularly shocking. You, sir, may fuck off. 18 years in prison for you.
That's not bad.
Which is actually really high for manslaughter. That's like good. As much as you can pretty much do for manslaughter. So good. He can fuck right off.
What year was that?
This is 2004.
2004.
Yeah, 2004. So
he's got at least until 22.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So Kane's lawyer, Richard Shadley, called the sentence harsher than usual and said that he hopes to convince Tommy to appeal. Basically, even though he made a deal for this. Just be happy.
Yeah.
So he's in jail 2005 through 2008. He is a menace to the staff in jail.
Wow.
He's a complete fuck up in jail. He incurs 22 institutional charges.
Holy shit, in the first
3 years in jail. Yeah. In 2008, he was transferred to a different pen, and then his behavior improves. He doesn't get in any trouble at all. So I think it was knucklehead people. He adapts to where he is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if it's knuckleheads, he's going to be a knucklehead. He was organized. Well, we'll find out here in a second.
Okay.
But Ava Sheikh, in 2010, the sister with the children, sues Tommy on behalf of both her sister and the 4 kids.
Oh, this is fucked up.
For child support and emotional damages caused to the kids.
I mean, I get it, but this is fucked up.
Well, this is bad. We'll see here.
Yeah, I already see where this is going.
She sues them for $1.2 million.
Right.
During the proceedings, Kane's attorney tries to make an assertion that Tamara didn't feel any pain during the attack,
Christ.
so there's no pain and suffering for Tammy.
She wasn't unconscious when she got stabbed the first time. So,
Justice Clement Gascon has a word about this.
Oh, good.
He says, quote, the surprising assertion that Sheikh did not suffer any pain prior to the final blow is ridiculous. In the situation at hand, the pain and suffering of the deceased before her death is obvious. She must have realized the imminence of her death as a result of the attack by Mr. Kane. Her death was not instantaneous. Mr. Kane had to reach twice for a different knife. Yeah. Fuck you, asshole. Exactly. So Quebec Superior Court Judge Clement Gascon awards Ava not the full amount, awards her $590,000 for her and the kids. Tommy, to pay this, must sell his mother's house to pay. So this is what I mean. He shouldn't have had it in his own name.
That's where I was going. That's fucked up.
They sell the house, and that money is transferred to Ava. It's $171,000. So
that's all he's got.
That's all its mother's got, too. Yeah. That's it. She's going back to Little Burgundy, too, with the rest of them, with him, too, when he gets out. Kane does not dispute the judgment because he can't, but he does say he's going to, in the lawyer, they say they're going to seek a lower amount because he says he just doesn't have that. And
doesn't matter. The house is already gone.
He has nothing else to sell at this point. Now, the victims' advocates are coming out here.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. This is the first time up there where this has happened, where somebody like a victim like this has sued the guy and won from domestic violence.
Really?
For the kids. This is the first time. So this is a huge victory, kind of.
How about that?
Yeah. The victim's advocate, Teresa Foster, said of Ava, quote, "She's dealing with mixed emotions. She's pleased with it, and it's created a precedent for other women who have to travel that way, but there's no dollar amount that could replace her sister or the mother of the children lost," which obviously. Yeah. Now, December 1st, 2015 is there's a chance of problems which led you to gaining insight into your offending and cognitive distortions. Your behavior while in custody has been positive, with the exception of you organizing and participating in a football gaming pool.
You were a bookie.
He's a bookie in jail.
You became a bookie in prison.
December 1st, still, Parole Board of Canada makes the decision to approve Kane for day parole after he completes a series of escorted and unescorted leaves from the penitentiary. Now, day parole there is like work release.
What were they gambling with? I mean,
money. Drugs, money.
You got soups. You got
soups,
keistered
drugs,
in
everything.
Newports. What the fuck?
That's everything, I'm sure.
Jesus.
This is basically they release you like on work release for 6 months to make sure you don't fuck up while you're out during the day, and then it goes to full parole. Because after this, his 2/3 of a sentence, which is what you got to serve basically before you're pretty much automatically released, is up at the end of 2016.
Oh my God.
So they want to get him at least in the program to where they have some control over what he's doing before they just let him out on parole completely.
Sure.
They want to at least get him in something. So the day parole will last for at least 6 months, and he's required to take part in substance abuse programs and any other psychological counseling recommended by the parole officer. He has to do everything the parole officer says. He would be released after, like I said, serving the 2/3. The psych workup, he has an outgoing psych workup, and this is what they say, this is to Tommy, quote, "The most recent psychological and psychiatric assessments note that there are no symptoms present indicating a major mental disorder. Therefore, deem you as stable at present."
Oh my God.
You have no major disorder, so you're stable at present. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Except
but
for the
right
fact
now,
that he chopped his fucking wife's neck up.
Unbelievable.
This is unbelievable.
So for this release, Tamara's family requests special geographical limitations, at least, barring him from Ontario and Quebec. That's 2 whole fucking provinces. They have like 13 provinces or some shit. I don't know how many there is, but there's a few. There's like 11 or 13 or some shit. There's less than 20, and he's not allowed to go to two of them. That's a lot.
At least 20%.
Yes, and he would also not be able to not be able to contact their family, the sheikhs, any of the kids, nobody, unless approved by his parole officer, which I don't know why they would. And any contact with the family is completely forbidden. And so on November 26, 2016, Syracuse receiver Etta Tawu ties Kane's school record for 14 touchdowns in a loss to Pitt, where the team lost 76-61.
Holy shit!
That's
what a game.
Fucking defensive output there. But so that's Tommy.
They didn't even play the fucking defense.
Yeah, not at all. They didn't even put him on the field.
No.
They just ran plays like in Madden. They just ran without any defense.
Like a practice.
Practice run, yeah. We'll make the team blitz and then we'll throw long.
They just put tackling dummies out there.
That is Tommy Kane. He's out there. Congratulations, Montreal.
Wow.
If you're walking around, watch out for a guy about 5'10", formerly athletic with coke around his nose, and make sure he doesn't have any knives on him.
Stay the fuck away.
Stay the fuck away. I hope the kids, I don't know. I kind of hope he gets his shit together and actually, does something with his kid.
I hope they're
with his
stable.
kids, or at least pays for them or does something. I just hope the kids, I don't even know. I hope that maybe the kids shouldn't have anything to fucking do with him.
No, stay away from him.
Stay away from them. We're going to do you just leave your kids. Don't stay around and beat the shit out of them, make their lives worse.
Don't ruin them.
Do that. No, let's do that. So that's Tommy Kane. Holy shit, good God, what a disaster. That made me feel dirty. And that's what I mean. He is like OJ's little brother, basically. That is the OJ little, even right down to the neck stabs.
Yeah,
that's OJ's little brother.
Right down to the murder weapon.
It's sick.
It's very fucking just sad that he had an opportunity to just keep it on. He had a marketing degree.
Yep, he could have had a job.
He went to college. He got a fucking degree.
He could have went out, made $75,000 a year, lived like a normal person.
But that ain't a life.
He couldn't. He had the ego.
Life.
Nope. He had to have it all, man.
An NFL star.
Oh God, no! He's a star
Player.
He's a star, baby. So that's Tommy Kane. Guys, if you liked that, please go on iTunes. Right now you can do it.
Yeah.
I know it takes a second, but who cares? Sign in. This just took us, you know how much that was? I was translating French-Canadian shit. You know how fucking hard that is? So get on there. I know doing this is easier than that.
Yeah.
Just go in there, sign in, and give us 5 stars, please. Tell us you like the show. Tell us whatever the hell you want. Tell us you're following instructions. It would mean the world to us. If you love us even more than that, patreon.com/crime and sports. You can make a donation there, or if you just want to do a one-time donation, you can do through PayPal. Our PayPal is crimeandsports@gmail.com, and we're going to talk about some people right now with a shout-out.
Yeah.
With the shout-outs, you get shout-outs if you give us iTunes reviews. If you give us money, we really love you and we shout you out. And also, too, if you just come and talk to us and say some funny shit on social media, we'll shout you out, too. You can find us on social media, on Instagram and Twitter, both at Crime and Sports. Facebook.com/crime and sports, crimeandsports@gmail.com. And Jimmy, I believe you have the shout outs.
Yeah. Dale in Montana, Dale Black, I think is his name. Johnny Dempsey, Tim Turney, Tim Dudley, Parmjit Nat, Lilia Medina. They both, Parmjit Nat and Liliana Medina. They both donated to our Patreon. So
thank you guys
both.
So much. God, it's amazing.
It's huge.
Really, thank you.
Debbie Beloga, Jenna Exel, Sean W. in the UK. Kayla Clark in Canada says that when we run down Canadian girls, she gets a little bit offended, and then she realizes she's hotter than both of us. So thanks for listening,
Remember, the Canadian
Kayla.
standard is a little different.
Yeah, it's a little lower.
An 8 there is a 2 here.
Right.
So just remember that. I'm just kidding. We love you, Canada, and we love Canadian girls,
and
too.
Young Capital in Australia. Thank you guys so much for listening. And also, too, if you go on iTunes and review us and tweet at me on Twitter, whatever you do, let me know, and I'll find that shit on Yelp, and I'll review you.
Bitchin', yeah, let's do that. Yeah, Jimmy's got a review trade going on, so do that.
I'm into that.
Check that out. Also, like we said, Small Town Murder, tune into that.
Yeah.
If you've been waiting, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it's awesome. Small Town Murder is so much fun.
Yeah.
So please check out Small Town Murder. It's dark and creepy and fun. It's the best. So check out Small Town Murder if you like this. You can't go wrong there. Also, like I said, P.S. I hate this movie. But guys, that's the show for this week. Jimmy, you want to give them your social media?
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Find me on Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
Tweet at me. Interact. It's fun.
It is fun. I'm at Jimmy P. is funny. I don't interact as much as Jimmy because I don't sleep and I'm constantly looking up assholes. So I said I won't interact as much as Jimmy, but I'll get to what I can, and I love the fuck out of you guys. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for everything. Honestly, we love doing it. We will never stop. Next week, by the way, like we said, this week, March 17th, South by Southwest, if you're still listening. But beyond that, live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus